Infinite projection room begins with the projection of Ultron's world destruction. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76 I Love You and Destroy You. Silly children, run. Bruce Wayne, if I were a Trisolaran, I would definitely wipe out the living forces of the Earthlings. I think the reason why the Trisolarans dared to send out only one probe is that, even if they have some arrogance in it, the bigger reason is that they think that dealing with the Earthlings is as easy as dealing with a bug. Bruce Wayne, arrogance requires conditions. This is a question related to the survival of the Trisolaran race. Bruce Wayne, the Trisolarans probably really think that one water droplet can solve the entire human fleet, so they only sent one water droplet to explore the way. Bruce Wayne, they have always been on guard not against humans, but other advanced civilizations. Wolverine, are you saying that in their eyes, the Earthlings have always been something that they don't even need to take seriously? Bruce Wayne, I think so. The video continues. After the Mantis captured the water droplet, Ding Li first ordered, or even begged, the Quantum to enter the deep sea mode so that it could quickly enter the forward 4, and then boarded the Mantis. Before boarding the Mantis, Ding Li said some intermittent and even incomprehensible words like nonsense. I want to say, children, these days, you have been very good to me. Children, do you know what I have been doing all these years? I teach physics in college, and I'm still teaching doctoral students. Children, I'm a man from 2 centuries ago. I can still teach physics in college now. The captain looked at Ding Li, who was leaving, and chose to report the request to turn on the deep sea mode, on the grounds that, if the water drop escaped, they could also speed up to chase. Finally, the Quantum and the Bronze Age entered the deep sea mode, ready to enter the forward 4 at any time. On the spacecraft, Ding Li looked at Zizzy and 2 other officers in front of him, and started chatting with them. As they chatted, they talked about Zizzy's name and the West Lake in Hangzhou on Earth, and then Zizzy asked if there were many beauties who liked Ding Li in ancient times. Ding Li suddenly laughed when he heard this. I usually don't bother the girls I love. I believe in Go's saying, I love you. What does it have to do with you? Zizzy looked at Ding Li and smiled without saying anything. After saying this, Ding Li talked about his understanding of physics. In a strange environment, the cabin soon fell into silence. Finally, they saw the Trisolaran detector, the water drop. The water drop is beautiful, really beautiful. Zizzy even called it the tears of the Virgin Mary. Ding Li put on special gloves and stroked the water drop. It's so smooth. Yes. One person took out a special instrument and began to study the surface of the water drop. Magnified 100 times, smooth mirror surface. Or 1,000 times, still smooth mirror surface. 10,000 times, still smooth mirror surface. 100,000, 1 million, 10 million. Even if it was adjusted to the highest degree, it was still a smooth mirror surface. They all thought their instruments were broken. But Ding Li didn't think so. He picked up an alloy hammer and smashed it hard at the water drop. There was no trace on the surface of the water drop, not even a trace of damage. Using instruments to survey again, there was still no trace. The surface of the water drop was still as smooth as new. Arthur Clarke once wrote a book. In that book, an alien civilization left a black obelisk on the moon. No matter how accurate the instruments used by the Earthlings to measure it, the proportion of the obelisk was 1:3:9. That civilization arrogantly displayed its power in this way. Now, mankind is facing a more arrogant display of power. Sweat began to flow from Ding Li's forehead. The surface of a neutron star is also smooth like this, but its mass is normal. Then there is only one possibility, the strong interaction. The molecules of this thing are neatly arranged like a guard of honor, and at the same time they are mutually solidified. Do you know how strong this kind of solidification is? The molecules are like being nailed to death, and their own vibrations have disappeared. Damn. Tony was completely shocked. He had expected what powerful weapons the Trisolaran fleet would have. Laser, missile, electromagnetic gun. Although Tony was a genius, he was still somewhat limited by the times. When he heard about the material of the water droplets, he was completely stunned. It's over. He suddenly realized something else. What's wrong? What happened? What is strong interaction? Let me explain it briefly. Tony said, in simple terms, water droplets are indestructible. No matter what kind of weapons on Earth hit a water droplet, it is impossible to make a scratch on it, because its atomic structure is completely stable. In ordinary density materials, the distance between atomic nuclei is very large. Fixing them together is not much easier than using a set of lotus stems to fix the sun and the 8 planets into a set of static trusses. This is equivalent to using an ordinary bow and arrow on Earth and letting an ordinary person shoot an arrow to the moon. Although they did not understand what strong interaction was, they understood Tony's idea of locking planets with lotus stems and shooting the moon with bows and arrows. Although I still don't understand, I always feel that something big is going to happen. Ding Yi sneered, and the other 3 understood what Ding Yi meant by sneer. Water droplets are not as fragile as tears. On the contrary, its strength is 100 times higher than the strongest substance in the solar system. All matter in this world is as fragile as paper in front of it. It can easily penetrate the Earth without any damage to the surface. Then, what are they here for? Who knows? Maybe they are here to pass on a message. What? I love you. What does it have to do with you? Destroying you. What does it have to do with you? The next second, Ding Yi suddenly shouted, "Run! Run! Silly kids, run!" On the mantis, a blue halo appeared at the tip of the water droplets till it's Friday, and I'm considering whether to go home. Chapter 77 2000 Fireballs, The Consequences of Arrogance. That's the propulsion device of the droplet. It's activated. The terrifying high temperature instantly vaporized the 4 people and then detonated the mantis. The first reaction of the warships that observed all this was that the droplet had self-destructed. They were first sad for the sacrifice of the 4 members of the expedition team, and then disappointed that the droplet was not a peace messenger. However, all mankind was not mentally prepared for what was about to happen. But soon a warship discovered something wrong. An object was flying towards them quickly. Originally, this was normal. After all, after the mantis exploded, a large number of fragments were scattered. There is no air resistance in space, and no gravity. The fragments will basically not slow down under the help of the explosion. And they found that the flight trajectory of the fragments was not directly towards the warships, but flew towards the edge of the warships. So the people on the warships didn't take it seriously. It's over. Looking at the flight trajectory of the water droplet, Hikari could not help but shouted, "Run. It's going to catch you all in one fell swoop." What? The strong interaction material is enough for the water droplet to easily penetrate a battleship without any damage, and not even a scratch will be left on the surface. What the water droplet has to do now is to adjust the angle and choose the best position, and then wipe out the entire Earth fleet. The battleship issued a level 3 alarm, but no one took it seriously. Then the water droplet accelerated to the 3rd cosmic speed, but still no one took it seriously. Even the battleship's early warning system raised the alarm from level 3 to level 2, but this group of humans still did not take it seriously. Too arrogant. Bruce looked at the Earth warship commander who didn't care and said, "We said before that the Trisolarans were arrogant, but now it seems that the Earthlings are the ones who are really arrogant. It is their arrogance that blocked their last way out. If the commander named Zhang Bihei was here, this would never happen." Wolverine. On the surface, they have technological weapons that far exceed modern Earth, but their tactics and combat awareness are not even as good as any soldier who has just walked on the battlefield once. Even if they are so scared that they dare not fire a shot, as long as they really go to the battlefield once and experience the baptism of blood and fire, they will never be like this. Wolverine. Ignore the alarm, despise the opponent, and do not know the strength of this opponent. Wolverine. This is definitely a way to die. Wolverine. I would rather all the Earthlings be that kind of runaway escapism than sacrifice one by one in vain under the influence of stupidity and arrogance. Wolverine. I have been to the battlefield and I know the cruelty of war. You may want to say that I'm afraid of death, but I have seen too many comrades die in front of me. I have the self-healing gene. I can't die, but I can't save others. I have seen more than once that the brother who drank and chatted with me last night turned into a corpse the next day. A mutilated corpse. Wolverine, I would rather they all run away with Zhang Beihei than let them all die in the arrogance of mankind. Wolverine, that Zhang Beihei is a good commander. He at least saved the soldiers on 5 spaceships and gave mankind a hope of escaping to the universe. Wolverine, in war, commanders hope that their soldiers will not fear death, but we ordinary soldiers just want to go home alive. Wolverine, sorry, I said too much. In the X-Men universe, Wolverine Logan looked at the fleet of battleships that didn't care about the water droplets, as if he had seen their future. He covered his face in pain, muttering, "It's over, they're done." Just as Logan said, when the water droplet flew to the right place, it immediately launched an attack on the human warships. The water droplet aimed at the edge of the infinite frontier and crashed into its nuclear fusion fuel depot. Then, the water droplet penetrated the nuclear fusion fuel depot without any damage, causing a violent explosion. Then came the faraway, Foghorn, Antarctica and Extreme. In the next 8 seconds, the water droplet penetrated dozens of warships. The Star-class warships that humans are proud of were powerless in front of the water droplet. Just like setting off firecrackers, nuclear fireballs exploded in the universe and turned into gorgeous fireworks. The water droplet flew a distance of 2,000 kilometers, penetrated 100 warships, and released 100 gorgeous fireballs in space. And all this took only 1 minute and 28 seconds. It was not until this moment that humans realized that something serious had happened. At this moment, humans were already confused, but the water droplets were not confused. After completing the first attack, the water droplets turned and aimed at another row of Star-class warships in a way that Earth technology could not do at all. At this moment, the soldiers on the human warships began to realize that the last words that Ding Yi had sent were not to Zizi and the other two, but to them. Run, run. Silly children, run. But it was useless to realize it. They couldn't escape at all. No, there were still some who could escape. The previous Quantum and Bronze Age, at Ding Yi's pleading, entered the deep sea mode and could enter forward 4 at any time. That is, in this situation, the Quantum and Bronze Age fled the solar system without hesitation. Since the warships can accelerate to 15% of the speed of light in the forward 4 state, the water droplets could not catch up, but compared to the 2 warships that escaped, there were many more that could not escape. The Quantum and the Bronze Age entered forward 4 and escaped in time, but the other warships could not escape. In the silent universe, fireballs lit up. This was the end of humanity's highest combat power. It was the Trisolaran's redeclaration to humanity. In front of us, you are still bugs. Bugs. Excluding the natural selection that had left earlier, the 5 warships that were chasing the natural selection, and the Quantum and the Bronze Age that survived. After Ding Yi's reminder, the human warship fleet was 2015. Excluding the 7 that escaped, the remaining 2008 warships, including the people in the fleet, were completely destroyed. Looking at the spectacular starry sky, the people in the screening room and the live broadcast room felt their blood run cold. That was not just more than 2,000 fireballs, that was 2,000 warships and the people on the warships. There were at least thousands of people on a warship, and there were 2,000 of them. This time, at least millions of people died on Earth. I originally planned not to go home today, but the female colleague sitting opposite me asked me to go home together, and I couldn't refuse, so I agreed. So I took more than 3 hours of driving, so the update is late. Tomorrow the update will be back to normal. Chapter 78 The Drop of Water Turning Back. Logan watched the 2,000 fireballs gradually extinguish, and was so angry that he threw the cup in his hand to the ground. Although this had nothing to do with him, as a former soldier, Logan still couldn't stand so many soldiers dying in front of him. Tony Stark, the strong interaction material of the water droplet is really beyond my understanding. Isn't it said that there is no supernatural power in the world of the Trisolarans? Tony Stark, you may not know what the few turns when the water droplet attacks mean. Tony Stark, you should all know about inertia. The faster the speed of any object, the stronger its inertia. This has nothing to do with the vacuum environment, the space environment, etc. This is the basic law of mechanics. Tony Stark, But that water droplet, according to my visual estimation, its speed has reached at least the third speed of the universe, which is 16.7 kilometers per second. However, at such a terrifying speed, the water droplet did not even slow down when turning, and it did not even have stiffness or drift. It turned a corner directly. This is incredible to us. Captain America, Tony, I don't know what the third speed of the universe is, what inertia is, but I know what fighting is. Captain America, they are simply playing with their own lives, the lives of the soldiers. Wolverine, that's right. Do you know the Maxim machine gun? The bullets of that thing can instantly turn a person into a sieve. Wolverine, what's the difference between this dense arrangement and huddling in front of the Maxim machine gun and waiting for someone to shoot? Wolverine, and didn't the alarm warn them? Why didn't they listen? This fuck. Captain America, if the water drop escaped from the ruins of the Mantis, they could think it was an accident, but it still happened with the system's alarm. Then it really has no military literacy. On the battlefield, carelessness is to seek death. Everyone in the screening room could feel the anger of these two veterans across the live broadcast room. It can be said that no one in this live broadcast room has fought more battles than these two. Captain America's command ability is written into the setting, and he is also a person who has fought against DC. Although his performance in the movie is average, he is indeed the commander of the last battlefield. Let alone Wolverine Logan, who was born in 1832 and then awakened his ability at the age of 13 and fled to the ends of the earth. Then, Logan participated in the Civil War, 1861 to 1865, and World War I and World War II. He has lived for more than 100 years and has not missed either of the two world wars, and even participated in the Vietnam War. If it is the command of the war, Wolverine is not as good as Captain America, but for some details of survival and details to pay attention to on the battlefield, Captain America is not as good as Wolverine. Strange, they are too confident, so confident that they have lost the most basic tactical qualities. Loki, rather than saying it is confident, it is better to say it is arrogant. No, it should be arrogance. Loki, the most ridiculous thing is that the Trisolarans never took them seriously from beginning to end. Loki, ridiculous earthlings, you are always low-level creatures and need God's guidance. Wolverine, don't let me catch you, or be careful of your sissy face. Loki, you low-level creature, you are disrespectful to the gods. Ultraman Ace, okay. Let's turn our attention back to the video. Bruce Wayne, do you remember what Professor Dingley said? Bruce Wayne, I love you. What does it have to do with you? Destroying you. What does it have to do with you? This sentence actually represents the arrogance of the Trisolarans. Bruce Wayne, for them, they never put humans in their eyes, just like we always have to clean the house before moving in. Bruce Wayne, but, do you care about the rats and cockroaches that were here before? Strange, I have similar feelings now. Strange, we all know that we should wash our hands before and after meals, because we need to clean the bacteria on our hands. But when you wash your hands, do you care about the tens of millions of bacteria on your hands? Strange, no, you won't, and neither will I. Constantine, so, is this the greatest contempt between civilizations? Ignore. An inexplicable chill and anger gradually emerged from everyone's heart. If the gap in strength between the two sides is too big, then you will not even be taken seriously in the eyes of the opponent. In fact, bugs are the highest threat level. Ignoring is the ultimate arrogance of the strong. The video continues. At this moment, the warships of the Earthside are basically destroyed. And the Trisolarans only sent out a probe. This is not even a warship, it's just a probe. But just such a probe turned all the warships accumulated by the entire Earthlings in hundreds of years into space junk. And the Earthlings, who were about to defeat the Trisolarans, turned them into prisoners, and even debated endlessly about how to deal with the Trisolarans' prisoners, suddenly became about to be captured by the Trisolarans. Who can bear such ups and downs? Humanity around the world has fallen into collapse, or it can't be said to be global, at least LUOG is fine. Before, Hines had been impressed with his thoughts and firmly believed that humans would lose, but because of the atmosphere of human society, he once again experienced the pain of water being poisonous. but because the Earth fleet was wiped out, Hein's pain ended. At the same time, when Luogi learned that the water droplet would arrive on Earth in a dozen hours, he panicked on the spot. He knew that the water droplet was coming to kill him. The water droplet specifically went to hunt him down. Looking at Luogi on the screen, who had just shouted that he was right and was about to apply for protection to escape, the people in the screening room did not show the same mocking expression as the people in the Trisolaran world, but instead began to pray that Luogi's wish could successfully avoid the pursuit of the water droplet. Although they still have some doubts about Luogi's plan, they know that Luogi is one of the few people on Earth who can pose a threat to the Trisolarans. The Trisolarians are much more sober than humans, so can't these bastards help a little? Tony almost shouted the last sentence because he just saw the mayor fooling Luogi with very standard official language and then ran to deal with other things. You can't say that. We have a god's perspective, but they don't. Strange said, if someone suddenly came to tell me a few years ago that I would become a powerful wizard against the demons of other worlds in the future, I would definitely not believe it. Then, can Luogi escape the pursuit of the Trisolarians? It's difficult. Tony thought about it, looked at Luogi who came to the wasteland and waited for death, and said, we have seen the power of the water droplets. I have no doubt that, if the water droplets are given enough time, they can completely destroy the entire human civilization. If they are only used to kill one person, it would be too simple. Just when Luogi came to the wilderness and prepared to wait for death and prevent the water droplets from hurting innocent people, the water droplets that came to the outer edge of the atmosphere suddenly turned around. The water droplets flew in the direction of the sun. Question: why did the water droplets fly to the sun? This question is a quick answer multiple choice question. If you answer correctly, you will be awarded 30 points. If you answer incorrectly, you will draw a nightmare card. A. The water droplet is going to chase the fleeing fleet. B. The water droplet is going to blockade the sun. C. The Trisolarans feel that they are good again and can show off, so they decide to intimidate the Earthlings again by performing some kind of performance art on the sun so that the Earthlings will collapse in advance. D. The Trisolarans decide to let the water droplet fly to the sun to seek power from the sun to defeat the wall facer Luogi. I went to eat directly after writing it and forgot to post it. Chapter 79 Watching a Small Theater. I think we should eliminate the fourth answer first by elimination. Hikaru looked at the fourth choice and felt that it had a strong taste of tribute. D. The Trisolarians decided to let the water droplets fly to the sun to seek power from the sun to defeat the wall facer Luogi. Choose the longest of 3 short and 1 long. I think it should be C. It is indeed possible. After all, the Trisolarians originally planned to make the Earthlings lose their fertility and destroy them. It is not impossible for them to use the sun to carry out some kind of intimidation activities. Then, who will try? Everyone was silent. This is a single choice question of the quick response type. In other words, no matter how bad the luck is, as long as 3 people answer incorrectly in succession, then there will be only 1 correct answer left. In other words, at that time, it is a waste of 30 points. 30 points can be exchanged for a green card, or 3 random cards can be drawn. The price of error is a nightmare card. Everyone has seen the nightmare card that Captain America drew last time. It is indeed a nightmare level. No normal person can survive the 5 Tigers trial. Let me start with this. First, we can rule out option D, which is the 4th one. This option has a strong sense of tribute, and it always feels like it was taken out by the theater to make up the numbers. Hikari said, there is no supernatural power in the 3-body world, so if option D is not a synonym, then we can completely rule it out first. What if it is? Then just pretend I didn't say anything. Watching the countdown of the answer go by little, everyone is still hiding their answers. Maybe some people don't care about the points, but it would be very unpleasant if the answer they worked hard to come up with was taken away by others for free. Let's analyze it bit by bit from the beginning. Strange said, first of all, there is one thing that deserves our attention, and that is the spell that Luogi fired before hibernation. At that time, LUOG fired spells through the sun, so can we understand that the water droplets are going to block the sun, so that the earth can no longer fire spells through the sun? After all, if LUOG is killed, there may be other people who will figure out this truth through LUOG's previous practices, or simply copy him. Regardless of anything else, send out the coordinates of the 3-body star first. So in order to prevent humans from desperately sending themselves away, the 3-body people have to block the sun first. Stark, I'm not an expert in this area, you tell me. The sun? Tony nodded, and then said, after reading LUOG's previous practices, I also had some ideas. The Earthlings and the 3-body universe use stars as transmitters to send information to the universe. If the water droplets don't block the sun, then the Earthlings may really remember LUOG's plan and turn to the instinctive desire to survive and start a wall-facer plan that is even crazier than a few centuries ago. Suppose that the water droplet killed LUOG, then it would be more likely to cause humans to remember LUOG's plan and then announce their own or the Trisolaran coordinates to the universe. Both Trisolaran and Earth are of vital importance to Trisolaran. At least before successfully migrating to Earth, Trisolaran must not have any problems. So, the water droplet is going to blockade the Sunday. As for the method of blockade, I may have really figured it out. That's electromagnetic waves. Tony's eyes lit up with fire, and he said, since the water droplet has technology far superior to that of humans, it is not impossible for it to be stronger and emit strong electromagnetic waves to interfere with the Earth's transmission of information to the sun. What it has to do is to turn the Earth into an isolated island and prevent the Earthlings from transmitting any information to the universe. As long as no information is transmitted, the Trisolarans will not care what the Earthlings do on Earth. That's my guess. First, rule out the pursuit of the human fleet, then the fourth one. That seems to be just to make up the number, and finally compare the remaining two. Then it is obvious that only B is the most suitable answer. Then, who's going to try it? Although the answer is right in front of everyone, this is a pain card. Obviously, here, the risk and reward are proportional. A probability of 1/3 or 1/4. Do you want to take a gamble? Someone took a gamble. Wolverine, I choose B, judgment in progress. Wolverine answered correctly, rewarded with 30 points. Aha. Seeing this, Logan slapped Charles to the ground fiercely. Wolverine, hahaha, 3 of you, let's split the points equally. Wolverine, I was planning to take a gamble. If I win, I'll get 10 points for free. If I lose, I'll try to see how scary the nightmare card is. I didn't expect to win. Wolverine, I answered such a difficult question correctly. If I round it up, I'm also a great scientist. The others laughed when they saw this. The more perceptive people also thought of a way. Can we team up with other members who can't answer in this way? They are responsible for taking risks, and we are responsible for thinking about the answer. If this is the case, both parties will benefit, and can also ensure that they will not encounter penalty cards. Ultraman Hickory, I didn't do much, so I don't want the 10 points. You guys can divide it. Wolverine, hey, are you serious? Ultraman Hickory, well, I haven't studied the items I got from the gold and blue cards before. Now I don't need points and cards much. Besides, my world is relatively stronger. You need more power from the screening room to strengthen your strength to guard against multiverse enemies and deal with the dangers of your own world. 1. If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten about the Infinite Ultron. The excitement on Logan's face froze on the spot. Infinite Ultron can be said to be an unforgettable nightmare in the hearts of the first batch of viewers. Constantine, what is Infinite Ultron? Wolverine, a crazy robot who wants to destroy all life in the multiverse. Constantine, destroy the life of the entire universe. Even the Demon King Sangang is not so crazy. Wolverine, correct, it intends to destroy the entire multiverse. 1. In other words, it may break the crystal wall and travel to your world in the next second. Wonder, no way, the Ultron in our world is not that strong. Ultraman Ace, at that time, Ultron obtained 6 infinite gems, and then he gained such a powerful power. The purple potato spirit was fully responsible. Thanos, I'm just watching a show. Who did I offend? Temple second. Thanos has been at ED for the second time. "Sir, should we land on the dwarf planet?" asked a soldier who had no sense of propriety. "Deadblade, Ebony Maw, you two go and get the Infinity Gauntlet. The plan to clean up the dwarf planet is temporarily shelved." "Yes, sir." The two took the order, left the other two of the four black generals with a helpless look, and ran away quickly. So, General Deadblade and Ebony Maw, who sold their teammates and wives, went to the dwarf country to get the equipment that Thanos had customized before, leaving the two unlucky guys to accompany Thanos, who was in a moody mood, to continue watching the live broadcast. I deleted and revised this chapter, and it took me an hour to get in. I understand. Climb. If you don't like to watch, climb for me. Climb. Chapter 80. The Dark Forest is about to surface. The water droplets released strong electromagnetic interference towards the sun, blocking the last chance of human resistance. At this moment, Log was kneeling in the wilderness and laughing, until Shi Kayang drove over to pick him up. Log told Shi Kayang that they were all doomed. Shi Kayang said, "That's a matter of several generations, isn't it?" "Yes, when the situation stabilizes, I will go and pick up Zhuang Yan and the children, and live a peaceful life with a wife and children." "That's right, I will go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to inquire for you tomorrow, and after a while, we will go and pick up my brother's wife and niece." The two drove home, but they met a group of people on the road. When they saw Log, they knelt down and kowtowed on the spot, shouted, "Savior! Log, black question mark point JPG Lord, please save us. Our God, please save this world." Heinz came over and told Log that he had just been named a wall facer again, with the same power as a few centuries ago. Well, the Galbay project that had tortured Log for several years has started again. Log, Cheo, my spell worked, didn't it? Log said what he had expected in an inquiring tone. Yes, that star was destroyed 51 years ago, but because the distance was too far, they only received the information about the star's destruction 50 years later, that is, last year. It's just that no one cared at all at that time. Now that the space fleet was wiped out, humans remembered this matter. When the consequences of Log's spell were announced, the whole world went crazy. Not only was the star that released the spell destroyed, but the subsequent damage also blew up the four surrounding planets, and finally led to the destruction of the entire star system. As the news spread, Log was worshipped as a god by the people on Earth. Now all the people on Earth believe that Log can use the spell to destroy the Trisolarian. Log has now regained his identity as a wall facer, but due to the double blockade of the Sophan and the water droplets, Log can't do anything now. Everything seems to be the same as it was a few centuries ago. Okay, the loop is closed, brothers. Wolverine, it's broken. Peter Parker, yeah, now the signal from the sun is locked and can't send a signal. Wolverine, no, Kit, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Log himself. Wolverine, if there is no unexpected situation, Log will soon be in big trouble. Peter Parker, huh? Wolverine, are you forgetful, kid? What did I say at the time? Wolverine, on the surface, these people seem to regard Log as the savior, but that's because they don't know anything at all. They just think that Log has the ability to destroy a star, so he has the ability to destroy the three-body star, but they don't understand any principles at all. They are now wishful thinking and pinning their hopes on Log, worshipping Log as a god. They don't care about Log's own situation at all. Wolverine, when people worship gods, they don't care whether the gods can bless them or not. They just find a psychological sustenance for themselves. That's all. Wolverine, think about it. When these guys know that Log can't do anything at all, what will they do? Ultraman Ace, at the very least, they will completely ignore Log, and at the worst, they will regard Log as a sinner, a liar, a devil, or even kill Log to vent their anger. Peter Parker, no way. Ultraman Ace, this is what Brother Jack said. He said that humans are two-sided creatures. They have a bright side and a dark side at the same time. To understand humans, you must accept their light and darkness at the same time. On this point, many people in the live broadcast room and the screening room have more say than me. Bruce Wayne, that's right. When I traveled around the world, I also saw a lot of darkness in human nature. Now the higher these people praise LUOG, the harder they will hit LUOG when they are disappointed with him. Bruce Wayne, even if LUOG has never promised anything, they will still feel that LUOG has deceived them. They are disappointed, angry, and resentful of LUOG, and even think that everything is LUOG's fault. Wolverine, these guys are just looking for a breakthrough to vent their emotions. LUOG is just the unlucky guy they chose. Captain America, this is just shirking responsibility and venting emotions. In this situation, people will instinctively ask for help. For example, find a hero who can save the world to save them. Regardless of whether the hero is willing or not, they will only think that we have chosen you, so you have the responsibility to save us. Otherwise you are a demon, a sinner, a demon. You deserve to die. Captain America, even if the person they chose has never expressed anything. Captain America, now LUOG no longer has the power to cast spells. In this case, it is very likely to cause a tragedy. Tony Stark, be more confident, Captain. It is not very likely, it is certain. Ultraman Hickory, LUOG is not a god. He does not have the power to solve everything, nor the ability and responsibility to save all living beings. All of this is imposed on him by those Earthlings, but the Earthlings do not care about this. They only care whether LUOG can save them. If LUOG cannot, then the end has been said by everyone present. Humph. Magneto sneered. Humans are like this, demanding endlessly. Even if God meets their demands, they will still feel that it is not enough and will want God to do more. I bet that even if LUOG is able to save them, 1 or 2 years will not be a big deal. After a few decades, they will still be dissatisfied with LUOG, thinking that LUOG's power is too great and restricting their human rights and Greece, and then continue to make trouble, such as removing LUOG's identity as a wall facer. The video continues. After driving away the pilgrims, LUOG and Shikayang came to a quiet and dark place. LUOG has been holding back for long enough, and he also knows that he has no other choice, so he plans to show his cards. He wants to tell Shikayang about the justice of the universe. So the topic once again returned to the 2 sentences at the beginning of the 3-body video. First, survival is the first need of civilization. Second, civilization continues to grow and expand, but the total amount of matter in the universe remains unchanged. Shikayang asked, then what? That's all. Dashi, do you think the universe is bigger, or are there more lives? The universe is definitely bigger. No, you're wrong. Let me tell you a basic math problem. If there is a bacterium in the ocean that is invisible to the naked eye and divides once every half an hour with enough nutrients, how long will it take to fill the entire ocean? 100 years. Wrong. A few days. They can fill the entire ocean on Earth in just a few days. The reason why the Trisolarans and the people on Earth seem so small is purely because both civilizations are in their infancy. Just like babies in the human life cycle. As long as the technology mastered by a civilization exceeds a certain threshold, the expansion of life in the universe will be terrifying. For example, at the current speed of human navigation, Earth civilization will be able to fill the entire Milky Way in 1,000,000 years. 1,000,000 years is only a short time on a cosmic scale. Heinz said before that life was likely born at the birth of the universe. Aren't billions of years enough time to develop civilization? Billions of years, not to mention the entire Milky Way. The entire universe must be crowded. The universe has been filled up a long time ago. There is no room or resources left, isn't that right? The universe looks empty. Apart from the 3-body problem, there is no other alien life. This is the point I want to make. I will try to finish the 3-body problem in another chapter later. Chapter 81 Part 4. LUOG first explained the chain of suspicion to Shikayang. In the universe, one of the 2 civilizations detected the other. The detector can be either benevolent or malicious towards the detected one. Benevolent means not to attack the detected one, while malicious means to attack. Then the detector can choose whether to contact the other party. If you communicate, the price you pay is to expose your own position. If you communicate with it, then the problem comes. How do you determine whether the other party is benevolent or malicious towards you? If the other party is benevolent towards you, then it's great. You can form a larger benevolent alliance by uniting. But what if the other party is malicious towards you? What if the other party is benevolent towards you at first but then changes its mind? Survival is the first principle of civilization, so civilization must ensure its own survival before it can communicate with other civilizations. But communicating with other civilizations violates the principle of ensuring its own survival. So, it is impossible to communicate on Earth. Because of the distance, there is no need to worry about the birth of the Dark Forest law. That is, there will be no Dark Forest between countries. Born in the universe, the distance between two civilizations is infinitely widened. What are the consequences? I don't need to say more. Because you can't judge whether the other party is kind or malicious to you. So under the condition of mutual suspicion, a deformed universe law is born. No one dares to communicate with other civilizations. Everyone is afraid that the other party is malicious. Everyone wants to survive. Then in this environment, it seems that there is only one way to go when encountering other civilizations. That is to destroy the other party before the other party reacts. If you don't want to be killed by others, you can only kill others in advance. This is the chain of suspicion. Fuck, but if my technology is much higher than yours, and I also have good intentions towards you, then we can always communicate, right? No, this involves a technological explosion. It's like the Earth and the Trisolarans. Let's not talk about the situation of the Trisolarans themselves. Even if the Trisolarans are well intentioned and want to communicate with the Earth in a friendly manner, and the Trisolarans also have overwhelming technology against the Earth, but the Earth's technological level will also rise, and if the speed of development is faster than that of the Trisolarans, then if the Earth's technology develops, who can guarantee that the Earth's people will not attack the Trisolarans? There are many cases of allies on Earth stabbing each other in the back. So, to sum up, 1. Letting you know of my existence. 2. Letting you continue to exist. Both are dangerous for me, and both violate the first axiom. That's right. After the communication fails, silence is not an option, because if you remain silent, there is a risk of being discovered. Then when both communication and silence don't work, there is only one choice left. Shi Qiang was silent for a long time, and then he said, "Fuck, it's so fucking dark. Yeah, it's so fucking dark. The universe is a forest, a dark forest. Every civilization is a hunter with a gun. They must sneak through the forest like ghosts, gently push away the branches that block the way, try not to make any sound with their footsteps, and even breathe carefully. They must be careful, because there are hunters sneaking like it everywhere in the forest. If it finds other life, no matter what the other party is, they will do, and can do only one thing, shoot and destroy it. In this forest, others are hell, an eternal threat, and any life that exposes its existence will be quickly destroyed. But there is a stupid child called human in the dark forest. He made a fire, and shouted beside it, "I'm here. I'm here." This behavior is no different from suicide. Is this the real reason why your spell works? Yes, it's like peeling the bark off a tree in the forest and writing the coordinates of a place. Many hunters have seen these coordinates, so what will they do? Ignore? Explore? There is only one most effective way that conforms to the rules of the dark forest, that is to try to shoot without exposing yourself. Shoot once, no matter whether you hit or not, just shoot first. Suppose there are 100,000 hunters, 90,000 of them choose to explore, and after exploring, they quietly leave after finding that there is no life in that place, and the other 10,000 choose to shoot. Because their weapons are good enough to completely eliminate the fire and gunshots when shooting, so they shoot without exposing themselves. There must be far more than 100,000 civilizations in the universe! Exclamation mark. There must be tens of thousands of civilizations that can attack without exposing themselves. Even though some information had been guessed long ago, the screening room and the live broadcast room fell silent when LUOG fully explained the Dark Forest law. Avengers building. Is the universe so dangerous? Captain America suddenly thought of something and asked, "Nick, tell me, have we contacted aliens or anything like that?" Well, Captain, I've actually been in contact with aliens a long time ago, and they are not the same as the Dark Forest. Nick Fury's face was a little ugly at the moment, I'm sure of this, and to be honest, Thor and Loki are also aliens. Aliens? Loki looked unhappy. Humble mortal, pay attention to your words. I'm a god. Ignore point JPG. Everyone has long been accustomed to this. Loki, have you heard of the Dark Forest? Thor asked, ignoring Loki's speech. No. Loki was disdainful of a group of Earthlings, but after eliminating most of the barriers with his brother, the relationship between them was still quite good. The Dark Forest does not exist in our universe, at least not in the known universe. Loki said, in my opinion, this mainly depends on two reasons. Distance and the speed of technological development. Let's talk about distance first. There are a large number of wormholes in our universe. These wormholes make the distance between cosmic civilizations closer. As far as I know, there are a large number of space wormholes in the 9 realms. In addition, there are some special creations similar to our Asgard Rainbow Bridge, which has further shortened the distance between civilizations. The second is the development speed. The development speed of civilization in the universe is quite slow. You are very right about one thing, that is, the development speed of you Earthlings is really outrageous. It's only been a short time since you developed from the Stone Age to nuclear energy civilization. If you are given another 1,000 years, I'm afraid you can leap into the interstellar age. And the most important point is that the first civilization to develop in our universe did not realize the Dark Forest. +1 for the encouragement from the editor. I specifically achieved 4 updates a day. It's amazing. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82. There is no original text for this chapter. The Shire Empire, the Kree Empire, and the Skrull Empire. These are the 3 most developed countries in the universe. The Shire Empire remains neutral and rarely invades other countries. The Skrulls and the Kree Empire have been enemies for thousands of years and have been fighting for years. Apart from this, all other small civilizations are dependent on these 3 countries. Loki pondered for a moment and said, I missed the most important point, that is, supernatural power. I think the biggest reason why there is no Dark Forest in our universe is the existence of supernatural power. The supernatural power I'm talking about is not the junk you humans have made, but the existence of us gods. Oh my god. He's starting again. Come on, buddy, you better talk properly, or I'll call you Hulk. Loki's mouth twitched, and he seemed to feel a burst of pain in his body again. Enough of mortals. You don't know how powerful the gods are. Loki roared, my father's power is so strong that you low-level creatures can't even imagine it with your poor imagination. That's true, my father is invincible. Thor agreed. Mordo held an objection. But there is indeed a powerful existence in our universe. They call themselves the Celestials. These Celestials are completely different from Loki and his group. They are all real gods with terrifying power to explode a star with one blow. My father once fought against the Celestials, and we in Asgard also have some understanding of the Celestials. Loki, as a top student with full marks in cultural subjects, this comes from an Avengers cartoon. I clearly remember Hawkeye and Hulk followed Thor to Asgard, and then saw Thor and Loki's childhood grades in a place similar to the Wall of Honor. Loki perfectly crushed Thor with full marks in all subjects, knows a little about the history of Asgard, the form of the universe, and the secrets of the universe. For example, thousands of years ago, there was a powerful god who was sealed on Earth by Odin. There is also the existence of the Celestials. The cosmic gods are powerful beings that were directly bred by the universe and are used to maintain the balance of the universe. They sow life, guide civilization, judge civilization, and judge civilization. They are like robots, basically without emotions, and just complete their own work. The gods? Everyone understood immediately after hearing this. The existence of this god group is like a bottom line, a standard bottom line of cosmic morality. Because there is a strong enough force at the top to maintain the balance, the civilizations below will be fine, no matter how noisy they are. because if the situation gets out of hand, the Celestials will come to clean up the mess, referring to directly destroying this civilization that has gone astray. In the final analysis, power determines everything. The most powerful power is like a weather vane that determines the development rules of our universe. Loki's eyes were filled with a trace of unwillingness. Morality is just a concept. Justice and evil are just a matter of stance. Only powerful power can determine everything. In my opinion, the reason why the three-body universe has become a dark forest has a lot to do with the fact that the most powerful civilization has gone in the wrong direction. What that human said before was not wrong. If the most powerful civilization in the three-body world is like the group of people from the land of light, constantly protecting and guiding the weak, then the three-body universe can take a different path. Because of Hikaru's previous act of sending equipment to another Loki, Loki himself still has a little bit of a good impression of Hikaru. Although he helped a low-level Loki that was still Loki. To put it in a rounded way, that is helping himself. X-Men universe. Are those idiots also doing some research and summoning aliens? Logan stared at Professor X with wide eyes. Professor X's face darkened. He was also in the upper class and had heard a little about the various plans of mankind. Exploring the existence of aliens is no longer a secret. Charles didn't take it seriously at first. He even thought that, if aliens really appeared, maybe the relationship between humans and mutants could become more harmonious. After all, they are all people living on Earth. The relationship between humans and mutants can't be worse than that between Earthlings and aliens. Mutants are the same root as humans anyway. Humans will never join forces with aliens to eliminate mutants, right? No way, no way, no way. Non-Gmalt, don't call if he's dead, but now it seems that he really needs to talk to the top government officials of the human race. I hope they can accept his opinion, otherwise he can only use some extraordinary means. But at this moment, Charles still has confidence in the top human officials. They can sit in the position of dominating the fate of a country, so they must not be stupid, right? They can't let a patient with Alzheimer's disease sit in the position of president. No way, no way, no way. Ha 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 ha. In the screening room. Is that universe so dark? Hikaru looked at Luog on the screen, who was starting to return to his residence, and felt fortunate that his universe had the Kingdom of Light and the King of Ultra. Maybe some people say that they are the police of the universe, and the reason they maintain the peace of the universe is just to manipulate the universe in disguise. And they also slander that the Kingdom of Light is also extremely dark inside, and they are all a group of hypocrites, but they don't care. They really want to do their best to maintain the peace of the universe. They hope to create a bright universe where all races live in peace and there is no oppression. They know that overprotection of sheep will starve wolves to death. So they just help the natives resist the invasion of invaders. They usually observe silently on the side and only take action when foreign enemies invade. Someone once told them that the winner will live on with the resentment of the loser. But so what? Before the universe ushered in true peace, they will continue to fight. They also hope that one day they will not fight anymore. So they have been working hard for this. This is the problem with the top level thinking. Bruce Wayne is worthy of being a man with a setup that exploded. He quickly analyzed the problem of that universe. If I'm not mistaken, that universe is likely to have been constantly at war since its birth. In this environment, every civilization wants to survive and destroy other civilizations, because other civilizations are threats, and other civilizations are death. So in this vicious cycle, this environment is created. Although he said so, Bruce has raised his vigilance against aliens to the highest level at this moment, and his vigilance against Hikaru has also been adjusted to the highest level. The little trust he had in Hikaru before was gone. In our universe, although there are wars, this kind of dark forest does not exist. Hikaru touched his chin and said, I'm not in charge of diplomacy, and I'm not very clear about it. Ace, you tell me. I admit that those who say I'm a waste every day, but don't you feel guilty for saying that I copy and paste? Am I copying and pasting? Can this book be written without writing the original? Can I still publish this book if I copy and paste it myself? I'm so angry because I'm trying to sleep while typing. Chapter 83 The God Who Never Wanted to Become a God. Ultraman Ace, I'm a military attaché. The aliens I deal with are basically those who have committed crimes. They were either beaten to death or dismembered by me. You should ask Julian about diplomacy. Ultraman Hickory, have you not returned to the Land of Light yet? Ultraman Ace, yes. On the way back to the Land of Light, I felt a familiar energy fluctuation, very similar to the group of Babas of the Yabo people, so I went to investigate. Ultraman Hickory, the Yabo people, have they resurrected? Peter Parker, Mr. Hickory, are these also your enemies? Ultraman Hickory, yes, the Yabru from another dimension. They are a tribe with very strong technology, able to create super beasts that are stronger than ordinary monsters, and these guys have a bug level passive ability, which allows them to be resurrected continuously, as long as they have resentment. 1. Resurrection as long as there is resentment? This thing sounds neither scientific nor magical. Ultraman Ace, as creatures from another dimension, the Yabo people can be resurrected continuously, as long as they have grievances. Although this resurrection skill is actually quite common in our universe, the most disgusting thing about these guys is that they are playing tricks on you. Ultraman Ace, these guys use tricks to force me away from the earth alive, but it doesn't matter. I will chop him every time I see him. I want to see whether they are resurrected faster or my guillotine is faster. Bruce Wayne, although as an earthling I should not express my opinions on you, have you ever thought of other solutions? Ultraman Ace, indeed, I heard that there is a way called salvation on earth that can save the souls of the wronged. I want to learn it and see if I can directly save the Yabo people next time, so that they don't pop up every day to annoy people. Ultraman Ace, I remember that Taro seemed to have used the power of Xitigabha Bodhisattva to defeat the Yama monster on Earth. When I return to the Kingdom of Light, I will ask him if he can ask Xitigabha Bodhisattva for the scriptures and find a way to save the Yabo people. Bruce Wayne, I'd better shut up. Alfred, speaking of this ability to revive by relying on resentment, it is a bit idealistic, and isn't Xitigabha a figure in mythology and legend? Tony Stark, but existence is reasonable. This is what materialism says. Tony Stark, besides, the gods in Norse mythology can exist, so why can't gods in other myths exist in other universes? Loki, mortal. Don't compare me with other gods. I'm the most noble god. Wanda, my god. Can't the theater have a voting function to mute people? Constantine, hahaha, there are God and heaven in our world, but they don't seem to be able to control this. 1. However, LUOG, the god, is not having a good time. The video continues. LUOG, who was renamed the Wallfacer by humans, has now been worshipped as a god by humans, but LUOG has no choice. He had already confessed to Shikai the essence of his spell, which is to send a coordinate to other civilizations, and then under the development and operation of the Dark Forest, the Trisolarian planet will be at risk of being smashed into slag by a stronger civilization. But now the sun is blocked and can't be sent. LUOG doesn't want to pay attention to the people of the Planetary Defense Council and hides in the house all day long to drink to relieve his sorrow. But those guys still don't intend to let him go. They told LUOG that he must do something. LUOG said, "Gentlemen, I have said more than once that if I can't launch my spell, then I can't do anything. So I hope you can preside over the Snow Project." Snow Project is simply to create a layer of space dust cloud to show water droplets entering the solar system. You must do something, even if it is useless, just to stabilize people's hearts. Okay, it doesn't matter. Anyway, you have never cared about my thoughts and opinions. LUOG went to work. With the idea of escaping reality, LUOG went to work every day and slacked off, putting all his energy on adjusting the position of the Star-class nuclear bomb. LUOG was working, but ordinary people began to be disappointed, because they knew that the Snow Project would not play any role in defending the Trisolarans. In other words, they were disappointed with LUOG again, and they thought LUOG had deceived them again. They thought LUOG was a liar. The star explosion was just a coincidence. Ordinary people's worship of LUOG gradually turned into disappointment, and finally evolved into anger. My god, it was a double goal. It was them who put LUOG on the altar, and it was also them who asked LUOG to work. Now they think LUOG deceived them, and they are still venting their anger on LUOG. They thought that LUOG had given them hope, and now he had shattered their hope, so LUOG had deceived them. But LUOG had never given them hope from the beginning. All of this was just their own crazy imagination. In the end, the Joker broke down and got angry. Listening to the narrator's unreserved and full-hearted ridicule in the screening room, several humans were speechless. So, is LUOG finished? To be precise, it should be the entire Earth. They had always watched stories about Earthlings defeating the evil alien invaders and saving the Earth. Suddenly, they saw that the Earth was occupied by aliens, and that humans were going to perish. Everyone didn't know what to say. Don't give up hope, everyone. Hickory slapped Parker's thigh fiercely, and regardless of Parker's face that was so distorted that he couldn't speak, he said, "Don't forget LUOG's identity." Identity? Do you mean the wall facer? Tony suddenly thought of something. Yes, the duty of the wall facer is to deceive, so is there a possibility? That is, everything LUOG has done so far is just acting? Wonder, but now LUOG has been kicked out. He has nothing. He doesn't even know where his wife and daughter are. Yes. Wanda's words brought everyone back to reality. Then there is only one possibility. That is, LUOG has done everything in the previous Snow Project. Strange said, I have observed LUOG working in the Snow Project before. He seems to be slacking off, but he is working very seriously and preparing for the counter-attack plan. But what else can he do? Stellar nuclear bombs. Is he planning to restart the plan of Wallfacer Re-Diaz? But Re-Diaz's plan requires at least 1 million stellar nuclear bombs, and now there are only a few thousand at most. And with the ability of the water drop, I have no doubt that except for the time of rushing, it will only take a meal for the water drop to destroy 1 million stellar nuclear bombs. But except for all the impossible situations, no matter how outrageous the remaining situations are, he is the correct answer. Thank you for the encouragement of all the brothers who are willing to support me. I was a little excited before, so I decided to control the comments. Out of sight, out of mind. You can watch or not watch it. Remember to be quiet when you climb. The Three-Body Problem is a book I like very much. I also like Death's End, except for Chengxin, so I did write a lot of content, which is indeed a lot compared to the previous screenings, mainly because the previous ones were either movies or short dramas, but this is a novel with hundreds of thousands of words. Chapter 84 I speak to the Three-Body World. LUOG was driven out of the residential area where he lived, and the respect for him was completely gone. LUOG was completely hopeless at this moment. He was driven out of the car when he was sitting, and it was just when the song Hawthorn Tree was playing. LUOG really liked to listen to Hawthorn Tree. LUOG wanted to finish listening to this song before leaving, but the people who were deceived by him were extremely disgusted and cold to him. They didn't want LUOG to sit in their car for a moment. Even if LUOG just breathed, it would pollute their air. LUOG could only drag the shovel and walk to where he wanted to go. LUOG caught a cold and his throat was inflamed. Someone asked him what he was going to do, and his answer was, I'm going to dig a grave for myself. LUOG walked in the rain, and finally, he came to a cemetery. He searched for a long time, and finally found the grave he was looking for. LUOG actually didn't have much confidence that he could find the tombstone, but he successfully found it. More than 2 centuries have passed. Logically, the words Yang Dong's tomb should have been blurred, but now they seem to have been carved yesterday. This is the beginning of LUOG's identity as a wall facer, and also the beginning of the story. And in the final chapter of this story, LUOG returned to this place. LUOG dug a not very deep pit bit by bit, which exhausted all his strength. He wanted to be buried here, next to the tombs of Yang Dong and Yuanji. LUOG fell asleep in the tomb. He dreamed of Zhuang Yan and the child, and dreamed of water drops. He saw the water drops were about to hit, and he shouted desperately, wanting Zhuang Yan and the child to escape, but even if he shouted with all his strength, he couldn't make a sound. Finally, he realized that they couldn't escape. No one could escape. LUOG woke up, his whole body was sore, and he had a high fever. He looked around, and found ants on the tombstone. Ants should not be common in this season. It's time. LUOG realized. I'm sorry if I did anything wrong. He said to the ant. What's wrong? What happened? The next thing LUOG is going to do is that. cast a spell to destroy both civilizations. What? LUOG stood up with difficulty, took out a pistol, and then he began the final showdown between Earth civilization and Trisolarian civilization. I'm talking to the Trisolarian world. Brothers. I'm getting goosebumps. He's apologizing to all the creatures on Earth. Someone in the screening room was keenly aware of this. The next thing he's going to do is to destroy the entire Earth. LUOG's voice was not loud, but he knew that the Trisolarian world could hear it. This is a brand new cradle system. You must remember the story of Wallfacer EI Diaz. The signal sent by the cradle system is linked to the 3,614 nuclear bombs deployed by the SNO project in solar orbit. When my life signal stops, the 3,614 nuclear bombs of the SNO project will be detonated. Then, they will form a three-dimensional coordinate and announce the coordinates of the three-body system. At the same time, the coordinates of the Earth will also be exposed. A few days, or maybe a few hours. Then this coordinate will be observed. Now, I will let my heart stop beating, and at the same time I will become the biggest sinner in the history of the two worlds. I express my deep apologies to the two civilizations for the crimes I have committed, but I will not repent, because this is the only choice. I know Sophan is by your side, but you never pay attention to the call of mankind. Silence is the greatest contempt. We have endured this contempt for 2 centuries. Now, if you are willing, you can continue to remain silent. I only give you 30 seconds. The countdown for the final negotiations has begun. Stop. Success. Great. Woohoo. At this moment, everyone who had been worried finally felt relieved. Peter happily hugged Hikaru next to him, and Hikaru smiled and rubbed Peter's hair. Tony seemed calm, but in fact, his tense nerves finally relaxed. He sat on the sofa, took a bite of the apple, and then began to comment that the apple was too soft and not crisp enough. Constantine coughed excitedly, and his face turned red. Constantine's example tells us that smoking is harmful to health. Strange and Bruce nodded to each other, and even Magneto was excited. No one would not be unmoved after seeing this battle. This is an epic heroic story, and they are the witnesses of this story. The man in the story is thin and seriously ill. Not to mention that he has superpowers like superheroes. Even Peter, an ordinary male high school student, can easily defeat him. But it was such a man who defeated the powerful alien who could destroy a large fleet of space battleships with just a detector. In front of him, the aliens finally chose to give in. They knew that the Trisolarians had given in, and the Earth had won. Put down your gun first. Put down your gun first, and then we can negotiate. This is not a negotiation. It's my request to continue living. I just want to know whether you agree or not. Next, LUOG asked the Trisolarians to evacuate the water droplets, and the Trisolarians did it without saying a word. At this moment, LUOG seemed to feel that the surrounding environment had changed. Of course, this was just his psychological effect. After all, humans cannot feel electromagnetic waves. Then LUOG made a request that the water droplets leave the solar system and the Trisolarian warships must not enter the Oort cloud. The Trisolarians refused, but they had no power to refuse in front of LUOG, so they could only compromise. After doing all this, LUOG collapsed to the ground. His mission was over. He won, and both the Earthlings and the Trisolarians could survive. Your physical condition worries us. Do you need us to call an ambulance for you? It's okay. As long as I'm alive, the signal will not be interrupted. No, I'm not a savior. I just want to leave here and go home like an ordinary person. I'll leave after a rest. We still failed in our strategy. Yes, if Ito is still there, they will see through my plan. Your snow plan reminds us of Rei Diaz. Rei Diaz is not a threat to us, and the same is true for the other 2 wall faces. So we carelessly thought that you are also no threat, and we transferred our contempt for them to you. It's unfair to contempt them. The 3 wall faces are all great strategists. They see the fact that mankind will inevitably fail in the Doomsday War. We can start negotiations. No need. This is not my business. Can you give us some suggestions for the next negotiations? LUOG, as if an outsider, said to the Sophan and the Trisolarians behind it. First, we need your help. to build a more complete signal transmission system so that humans can master the ability to launch spells into space at any time. Then we need to unlock the scientific blockade of the Sophan. Okay, now I just want to end it all. Finally, thank you. What? Thank you for letting me live so that both of our civilizations can survive. In fact, as long as we change our way of thinking, we can all survive. LUOG left and went home. 3-body Dark Forest end. It's over. It's really an epic. Strange said with emotion, I'm so glad that I can remember everything I saw so that I can recall this live broadcast at any time. By the way, there is no Dark Forest in our universe. Captain America, Doctor Strange, if you and we are in the same universe or a parallel universe, then it shouldn't be. I asked Loki about the information about the universe. There is a powerful organization called the Celestials in our universe. They will not sit idly by and watch the birth of the Dark Forest. Bruce Wayne, do we still have to use superpowers to solve the problem? Thanos, I summarized the conditions for the birth of the Dark Forest. One of the reasons for the birth of the Dark Forest coincides with my theory, that is, the continuous development of the population. Ultraman Ace, so what? The next chapter will be Avengers 3. Today I explained a test paper to the naughty kids. Damn, it took half an hour to solve a 6-question problem. Chapter 85 Camotage Ledger Deficit Warning. Ace watched a purple potato trying to preach again and just wanted to finish the screening quickly so that he could meet him in the theater. Ace believed that his Ultra Guillotine must be eager to play with the purple potato spirit's neck. On the temple second, Thanos touched his neck, and for some reason he always felt a little chilly. Thanos. So my theory is correct. The crazy growth of population is bound to lead to tragedy. No matter what method is used, it is necessary to reduce the total population of the universe. Ultraman Ace, you continue. I'll watch here. Thanos. Our universe will not cause the Dark Forest because of the existence of the Celestials. In a sense, this is also a good thing, but the population growth is on an upward trend. As long as it reaches a certain number, it will lead to a shortage of cosmic resources. Thanos, my mother tribe, the Eternals, we were created directly by the Celestials, so there are records of the Celestials in the tribe. The members of the Celestials are extremely powerful, 2,000 feet tall, and each member of the Celestials has the power to destroy the world, and they can even modify the concept of reality distortion. Thanos, and their mission is to maintain the balance of the universe. If the population of the universe is too large, even if I don't take action, the Celestials will still take action to clean up the universe. Thanos, for them, their mission is to maintain the balanced development of the universe. They create life like this, and they destroy life like this. Captain America, in other words, we not only have to guard against you in this world, but also guard against a group of extremely powerful cosmic gods. Thanos, correct me, the word guard is wrong. You are their creations. If your performance satisfies the Celestials, they will not only not destroy you, but will give you more technology and lead you to evolve. Tony Stark, just like an exam. But the consequence of failing is destruction? Tony Stark, that's too bad. Ultraman Hickory, it doesn't matter, as long as you pass the test. Strange, to be honest, we Earthlings don't have much confidence in this matter. In Earth's culture, there are many people who compare Earthlings to Earth's pests, and the destruction of Earth by Earth civilization in the process of development is also obvious to all. Although these are things that must be experienced in development, who knows what the other party is thinking? Even on Earth, there are many developed countries that use the trick of protecting the environment to morally blackmail developing countries. Ultraman Hickory, Delation. Wonder, what? Ultraman Hickory, there is also a similar existence in the records of our Kingdom of Light. That existence is called Delation. Ultraman Hickory, Delation created the universe we are in. Delation and the Starfleet under its jurisdiction are a powerful organization that maintains peace, but they have disappeared for who knows how many tens of thousands of years. Ultraman Hickory, maybe Delation went to another universe to continue to maintain justice, but according to the records of the ancient times of the Kingdom of Light, our ancestors of the Kingdom of Light once came into contact with Delation, and learned about the practices of Delation and its fleet. Ultraman Hickory, it is very similar to the Celestials, that is, to eliminate civilizations that are harmful to the universe in advance. Captain America, isn't this the Insight Plan? Exclamation mark. Captain America, the Insight Plan in our world is like this, using computer calculations to determine whether a certain person will commit a crime in the future, and then shooting him in advance before he commits a crime to prevent the occurrence of criminal behavior. Captain America still has something to say, that is, the Insight Plan was used by Hydra. Captain America, this is absolutely irresponsible behavior. How can you take action against people who have not yet committed a crime in advance just because of what will happen in the future? Loki, come on, mortal, do you have to wait for the tragedy to happen before you are willing to take action? Wouldn't it be beautiful to solve the problem in advance? Don't use your narrow worldview to look at those powerful beings that can dominate the fate of the universe. Can their predictions of the future be wrong? Tony Stark, oh, really? Then according to you, the Time Administration's approach is also correct? Loki, those bastards were farting at the time. Exclamation mark. Tony Stark, see, as long as the knife doesn't cut yourself, you won't feel any pain. Ultraman Hickory, I don't agree with this approach either. Every thought can eventually lead to a completely different result. Before the final result comes out, no one can judge it. Ultraman Hickory, since it's not done well, then do your best to do it well. Ultraman Hickory, purple potato, cough cough cough. Mr. Thanos, I think your idea is good, but the method is wrong. Maybe you can change your method to slow down the development of the universe's population. Ultraman Hickory, massacre is not allowed. Thanos, I will think about it carefully. Maybe we can talk about it. Now playing Avengers, Darkseid on Temple 2nd. Thanos watched the newly appeared video with great interest. The Darkseid, aren't they the group of crouching dragons and phoenixes under his command? How could these guys be on this live broadcast? Premise summary. Okay, the summary is over. Now playing the main text. On Earth, Tony Stark was visiting the park with his fiancée. Suddenly a portal opened, and a middle-aged long-faced man in a blue shirt and a big red cloak on his shoulders walked out. It was the current Supreme Sorcerer, Dr. Stephen Strange. Tony Stark, I'm Dr. Stephen Strange. I need you to come with me. We need your help. Dr. Strange looked solemn. Suddenly, he noticed Pepper next to him. By the way, I wish you a happy wedding. I'm married! Exclamation mark. Tony Stark's eyes twitched when he saw this scene. Although the relationship between him and Pepper was indeed special, they had not yet reached that stage. It was a bit difficult for this playboy to suddenly learn about his future marriage. However, it was not bad to be with Pepper. Wait a minute, don't you know that introducing yourself is basic courtesy? Hi, Tony. Just as Tony Stark was looking at Doctor Strange unhappily, a figure walked out of the portal. Tony was shocked. It was Dr. Banner, who had been missing for many years. Avengers building. I'm missing? Dr. Banner had a question mark on his face. Doctor, the previous video shows you and Thor being attacked by Thanos on the spaceship, so we can judge that you left the Earth for some reason. Nick Fury said, there should be a lot of things that we don't know in the middle. According to you, if it is according to what is said in the screening room, the next thing should be the Avengers fighting the artificial intelligence named Ultron. It is very likely that, in order to save the Earth, Hulk chose to pull Ultron away from the Earth. Nick Fury did not dare to say the word "die" together. It should be related to the Cosmic Cube. Maybe the Cosmic Cube sent me to Asgard. Haha, Banner, if you come to Asgard, you must be the strongest warrior second only to me. Goodbye, buddy, I'm me, and Hulk is Hulk. Just now, a colorful beam of light quickly approached the Earth. The Supreme Sanctuary in New York. Doctor Strange is discussing one of the three major problems of mankind with his good assistant Wang. What to eat for lunch today? Wang wants to eat a sandwich, but the money he has is only enough for him to drink Northwest Wind. At this moment, a colorful beam of light fell from the sky and smashed directly into the Sanctum Sanctorum, smashing a big hole in the stairs on the spot, making Kamatage, which was not rich to begin with, even worse. A figure slowly shrank in the dust. It was Dr. Banner, who was taking control of the body with Hulk. Brothers. This week on Sanjiang, it will be on the shelves on Friday. Oh ha 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 ha. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Order some tequila to celebrate, and then figure out how to post pictures. Chapter 86 The Four Obsidian Generals. After learning about Thanos from Dr. Banner, Strange went to Tony Stark without hesitation. Then Doctor Strange used the images released by his assistant Wong to explain the Infinity Stones to everyone. Space, power, reality, soul, mind, and time. As Doctor Strange spoke, the eye of Agamotto on his chest lit up green, which was the time stone. So the ornament on your chest is a time stone, one of the Infinity Stones. Tony looked at Doctor Strange, who shrugged and said, that being said, after coming to this screening room, the time stone is just a broken stone. Next, Banner began to tell Tony another terrifying news, that is, Thanos is coming to Earth. Thanos. The tyrant of the universe, the famous executioner, a titan with a brain problem. He is a disaster. His army is slaughtering indiscriminately in the universe, and he is trying to wipe out half of the population of the universe. Loki, who invaded New York before, was sent by Thanos. At this point, Tony immediately understood the seriousness of the matter and even suggested that Doctor Strange destroy the time stone to put an end to it. But Doctor Strange insisted on not agreeing. Seeing that the two were about to quarrel, Banner hurriedly changed the subject. We have to inform Vision as soon as possible. The Mind Stone on his forehead is also Thanos' target. I can't contact him. He turned off his communicator 2 weeks ago. Doctor Strange said, anyway, now we must find Vision. Who else can contact him? Stark sighed and said that Steve Rogers could. Wanda, no way. Wanda was so scared when she saw this scene that her face turned pale. The communicator was turned off 2 weeks ago. Wouldn't it be a week and 5 days ago for them? That means that Dr. Banner will return to Earth in 2 days, and then Thanos' army will come at any time. Exclamation mark. No, maybe less than 2 days. Seeing this, Vision was also stunned for 2 seconds, and then he turned on the communicator that he had turned off before without hesitation. Hi, sir. Wow, Vision, you scared me. Tony, who was about to go to dinner on the other side, was really scared when he heard the call from Vision. What? No living expenses? Or is the rebellious period over? No, sir, I will contact the captain right away. Our universe is likely to face a world-destroying crisis. What? This is not a joke, sir. Wanda and I will return to the Avengers base as quickly as possible. Well, it looks like something really happened. Captain America, what's wrong, Wanda? Wanda, it's been almost 2 weeks since Vision turned off the communicator. Captain America, what? Tony Stark, where are you now? And who is Vision? Why does he have the Mind Stone on his head? Wanda, this question is more complicated. Strange, let me explain this problem. In your universe, because of the threat of infinite Ultron, you destroyed the unborn Ultron and strangled the threat in the cradle. But in my world and Wanda's world, Ultron did not succeed in snatching the vibranium body. After the vibranium body was embedded with a mind gem on its forehead, it became another robot, Vision. Strange, I don't know what you were thinking at the time. Maybe you planned to use robots to defeat robots. You created another robot, but this time you bet right. Vision was not anti-human like Ultron, but defeated Ultron, who wanted to destroy the world with you. Strange, in my world, because of some things, Stark, you broke up with Captain America. This is probably the situation. The Avengers also split into 2 factions because of you. Tony Stark, I broke up with the Captain? Impossible. Captain America, yes, although Tony has many problems, he is definitely a good comrade who is trustworthy. Tony Stark, hey, Captain, what do you mean I have a lot of problems? Looking at the 2 people whose mental ages add up to no more than 5 years old who started bickering, Wanda and Strange both tacitly did not tell them the reason. Image continues. Dr. Banner still didn't know what happened inside the Avengers at this moment. He left the Earth a few years ago and didn't come back until now. Let me tell you this. The Avengers are disbanded. The Captain and I broke up. We will never see each other again. Dr. Banner, shocked by the news, took a deep breath and said, listen, Tony, I don't know what happened between you and the Captain, but Thanos is coming. Thor is dead. We can't lose friends anymore. And if Thanos succeeds, Half of the life in the universe will turn to dust. Please, Tony, we need to gather all our strength now please. Okay. Stark took a deep breath, driven by his strong sense of responsibility as Iron Man, and finally he took out an old-fashioned slider phone, which was left to him by Captain America, so that he could make that call at a critical moment. Just then, there was a sudden chaotic sound on the street. Everyone went out and saw that the pedestrians on the street were running away, as if there was an alien invasion. No, not as if. It was an alien invasion. When they came to the other side, they saw a strange spaceship hanging in the sky, which could be called performance art. What is this? A large wheel? After seeing the water droplets in the three-body world that were beyond ordinary people's imagination, everyone on Earth had a sense of awe for the alien spaceship weapons. But this feeling disappeared most of the time after seeing Thanos' spaceship. This thing looks like a large wheel, and it is really hard to feel awe. Two aliens were teleported down from the spaceship. One was 3 meters tall and very big. He was holding a giant weapon similar to pliers and a hammer in his hand. Although it was strange, it was definitely heavy. At first glance, it was a heavy weapon that could smash people into pulp. The other one was a guy wearing a black robe, a little bald, with white hair, wrinkles all over his face, and looked very ugly. Black Dwarf, Ebony Maw, two of Thanos' 4 Black Orders. Seeing the two aliens, Tony mercilessly left a message in the live broadcast room. Tony Stark, that purple potato spirit, this is your subordinate, and they are all incompletely developed aliens like you. The video continues. On the other side of a school bus, the hair on a teenager's arm suddenly stood up, as if he felt something. Turning his head, he saw the strange-shaped iron wheel spaceship hanging in the sky. The boy immediately knew that he had to do something. In the screening room, Peter Parker looked at the boy, and he shouted, as if he suddenly realized something in his heart, "That's me." So, the iron armor is just a prop, and what is really important is the person. The Iron Man we like is always the hero who gave up his warm family life in order to save the universe, and even risked his life to snap his fingers, not a weapons merchant wearing an iron armor. Chapter 87, Midfielder and Jungle Collaboration. One dies and one sends off. Kid, what did you say? Sorry. Peter explained. When I saw the boy in that picture, I had a feeling that, if nothing unexpected happened, that boy would be my counterpart in that universe. How do you know for sure? It's not certainty, it's just an intuition. An intuition. The bald Ebony Maw used telekinesis to float up and said, "Listen to me, you should feel fortunate and happy, because your meaningless lives will." Sorry Squidward, the earth is closed. Stark responded without hesitation, "You'd better leave here." Ebony Maw frowned and asked Doctor Strange, "Gem Guardian, is this chattering animal your spokesperson?" "Of course not." Doctor Strange gathered the arcane energy into the Ring of Ragada and took a fighting stance. "I feed myself a bag of salt. Now, no matter what aliens they are, get out of this city." Seeing that the war was about to break out, Stark quietly asked Dr. Banner beside him, "Banner, are you going to fight?" "Not really," Dr. Banner said as he got ready, "but you never cared about my opinion, did you? Okay, man, I'll fight alongside you again." A BGM with a strong atmosphere sounded, but nothing happened. "Banner? Wait a minute, wait a minute." Dr. Banner looked constipated, trying hard to hold it in, so much so that the veins on his neck popped out, and his neck turned green. "Listen, man, you're embarrassing me in front of the wizard. Come out, big guy. Come out." At this moment, Black Dwarf has already rushed over with his weapon, raised at the signal of Ebony Maw. Tony reluctantly handed Dr. Banner to the care of Wong beside him, and then pressed the nano-core reactor on his chest. Silver white metal flowed out like liquid, covering Tony's whole body. Nanosuit, start. Iron Man, debut. This is Tony's latest invention in recent years, the latest model of nano-metal suit, Blood Edge armor. Have you developed nanotechnology in the future? Looking at himself on the screen holding a nano-metal shield, easily blocking the huge force of Black Dwarf that was estimated to be at least in tons, Tony's heart burst with various inspirations. The battle officially began. Although Ebony Maw was bald, his combat power was inversely proportional to his hair. "I'm bald, but I'm also stronger." First, He used a shield to counter the Black Dwarf's stiffness, and then Iron Man summoned 4 hover guns and hand cannons to release blow lasers, directly blasting the Black Dwarf away. Ebony Maw casually threw the flying Black Dwarf aside. Anyway, this guy has thick skin and thick flesh, and his elegant posture cannot be destroyed. Dr. Banner looked shocked, as if a countryman had never seen the toys of city children. Tony turned around and explained to Banner that this thing was called nanotechnology, and then he was thrown away by Ebony Maw's telekinesis in the next second. After seeing that Banner's green friend never planned to come out, Doctor Strange said that you should hide aside. Then a portal threw Banner into the small park. Then Tony, who was thrown away by Ebony Maw, flew over to help the 2 mages block Ebony Maw's car attack, and then quickly dodged 2 concrete pillars and flew towards Ebony Maw. Isn't it easy to fight the mage? Cut him in close combat and it's over. 3 streets away, Iron Man saw the embarrassed Dr. Banner. At this moment, the strongest Avenger was embarrassed. He had always been very dissatisfied with his teammates treating him as the human body of Hulk. Now that Hulk was no longer angry, he realized that it was actually fatal without Hulk. Even if Banner slapped himself in the face, it was useless. Hulk couldn't say anything. Black Dwarf knocked Iron Man to the ground with a heavy blow. When he was about to go up to finish him off, a red and blue figure appeared. He is our hero of justice. 400 ants. Ahem. It's Spider-Man. Hi, Mr. Stark. Spider-Man easily took advantage of Black Dwarf's full strength attack, and then turned his head and talked to Iron Man easily, with an expression that said, "You're wilting before I even use my full strength. Hey, kid, where are you from? I'm on my way to the museum. This monster will." Spider-Man was grabbed by Black Dwarf and thrown away, and then continued to fight Iron Man. Iron Man took advantage of the gap when Black Dwarf threw Spider-Man away to shoot a laser, but the effect was not good. It was suspected to be scraping. Then the 2 of them joined forces to fight Black Dwarf, but it was just a back and forth fight. Black Dwarf directly picked up half of the car and smashed it over. As a result, Spider-Man in the air sprayed a spider silk and followed up with a set of magic hair and used it as a car to smash down from the sky at Black Dwarf with greater force. That guy called Black Dwarf is very powerful. Bruce commented on the side. The weight of the weapon is at least 5 tons, but it swings effortless. And the monster's skin defense is also very strong. The power of the yellow laser can easily melt the steel plate. The blue laser, before, can even blow up a tiger tank with one shot, but the best performance of knocking him down is that he was knocked away and stunned for a while. Tony knows very well how powerful the weapon he built is. After all, he has experienced it himself, referring to the missile in Iron Man. Although it seems that the laser does not hurt at all when hitting people, that is because he adjusts the power. The laser with full output cannot hit the Hulk, but it will take only a few minutes to hit a terrorist. And the boy named Spider-Man is not weak either. Bruce commented on the side. The previous heavy blow can definitely easily smash the concrete and steel bars. I estimate that the impact force of that blow is at least no less than that of a heavy motorcycle speeding at full speed. Not to mention ordinary people. Even steel and iron bones will only end up in pieces. But that boy is just fine. Yes, he caught it very easily, just like catching a basketball. To say that this kid's physical strength is steel and iron is to underestimate him. Stark, I suggest you check the information about this kid. Although he is a good kid in the video, if he has an accident in your universe and goes astray, it will cause quite serious consequences. Brothers, it's snowing today. Wear more clothes and keep warm. Half of the students in our class caught a cold today and kept coughing. I will save more manuscripts in the next few days and try to upload 10 or 8 chapters. Chapter 88. Yes, King. Ebony Maw raised his hand slightly, and the scattered bricks turned into sharp conical spikes. Then he waved his hand, and a rain of arrows flew towards Doctor Strange and Wang. However, Doctor Strange and Wang cooperated well. One opened the door to teleport the cone away, and the other opened the door to teleport the cone back, but the direction was aimed at Ebony Maw. Ebony Maw calmly lifted a car to block it, but the penetration of the cone was extremely strong. As a character with high magic and low defense, Ebony Maw's physical fitness is not even comparable to that of the monster on Black Dwarf. Even an ordinary person on Earth may not be able to match it. Even walking is replaced by telekinesis, So it's strange that his physical fitness is strong. Ebony Maw's defense was not completely successful. It was successfully broken by a cone that was originally launched by itself. This time, not only was a blood mark on Ebony Maw's forehead, but his heart was also broken. The furious Ebony Maw raised his hand to destroy the fire hydrant beside him, and the fierce water jet under the pressure directly blasted the king away. Now Doctor Strange and Ebony Maw began a one-on-one duel. Doctor Strange took the lead and used the arcane whip to roll up Ebony Maw, intending to grab Ebony Maw and prepare for close combat. But he didn't expect that Ebony Maw's telekinesis had reached the point of perfection, and he raised his hand to control Doctor Strange. Your magic is very interesting, and it must be very popular with children. Ebony Maw mocked mercilessly, and at the same time he reached out to take the Eye of Agamotto hanging on the doctor's neck, but he was burned by the magic protection that was cast on the Eye of Agamotto in advance. This is a simple spell, but it is difficult to break. The old contradiction is literary. Then I'll use your blood to break it. You'll find that it's even harder to break a dead man's spell. Ebony Maw was furious again and broke through his defense. He used telekinesis to control a steel pipe to tightly strangle the doctor's neck. Then I'll make you live a life worse than death. No way, you're captured now? Why would a wizard like you fight in close combat with the opponent? Even if the opponent is also a wizard, what if his physical fitness is stronger than yours? Looking at the eyes cast by everyone, Strange's face was a little embarrassed. Ahem. Strange's face froze. He didn't expect that he would perform so poorly and be caught on the spot. But logically speaking, even if he planned to fight in close combat, he wouldn't be so bad. After practicing Kamitage's introductory radio gymnastics, his physical fitness was not as good as Captain America's, but he was at the level of an adult strong man. That Ebony Maw was weak at first glance, and it didn't make sense that he couldn't beat him. Unless, before the fight, he had seen the future through the Eye of Agamotto, and then deliberately laid it out. Strange thought of a reasonable explanation. Because of the screening room, he could no longer use the time stone to predict the future accurately. The timeline branch changed dramatically, and the entire future was in chaos. After strangling Doctor Strange, Ebony Maw used telekinesis to take him back to the spaceship and interrogate him slowly. As a result, the floating cloak on Doctor Strange's back was very spiritual and took the useless Supreme Sorcerer with him and ran away. He was the Supreme Sorcerer, but in the end, he had to rely on my magic weapon to save his life. A cloaked man who did not want to reveal his name, but had made great contributions many times. A chase began. The cloaked man took Doctor Strange through the streets and alleys to avoid Ebony Maw's pursuit. During this period, Spider-Man followed him, but Ebony Maw's level and combat experience were obviously more sufficient. The two sides fought for a while, but in the end, Doctor Strange was caught on the spaceship. In the battlefield between Black Dwarf and Iron Man, Black Dwarf threw out his pincers to control Iron Man, and then prepared to rush over to give him a finishing blow. But at this moment, Wong arrived. He drew a circle and threw the Black Dwarf to the North Pole, and then cut off one of the Black Dwarf's claws at the moment when the space portal was closed. Yes, Wong. Has anyone seen Hish? Iron Man broke free from the mechanical clamps left by the Black Dwarf, leaving a sentence, Wong, you must come to my wedding. Then he flew to chase Ebony Maw's spaceship. The cub, Little Spider, is still on it. With Iron Man's order, a set of armor named 17 flew out of the new Avengers base. This is the Iron Spider suit that Iron Man prepared specifically for Spider-Man. Oh. Tony raised his eyebrows. It seems that his relationship with that child in the future is really quite good. You know, as of his current timeline, there is really no one who can let him build a set of suits specifically for him. Colonel Rhodes's War Machine armor was modified by himself with Mark II. Although he gave it to him half-heartedly and helped him upgrade it later, it was still his own at first. In other words, Spider-Man was the first person to get the exclusive armor. Thinking of this, Tony glanced at Peter Parker without leaving a trace. At this moment, he was concentrating on watching Spider-Man, who had just put on the Iron Spider suit, make a handsome appearance. On the spaceship, Ebony Maw was trying to force Doctor Strange to hand over the time stone, while Iron Man was secretly observing from the side, trying to find a way to break the deadlock. At this time, the cloak flew over and patted Iron Man on the shoulder and successfully scared him. "Well, you are really loyal." The cloak pointed, and then Iron Man noticed the little spider who was quietly approaching. "Listen, Kit, this is probably a one-way ticket. But if the world ends, then I can't be a good neighbor Spider-Man anymore." Iron Man can feel his determination from Spider-Man's words, and he has no choice but to take it with him. The most important thing now is to rescue Doctor Strange first. "Hey, I have an idea. Have you seen the old movie Alien 2? Iron Man said he was helpless. Is that thing old?" Cape said, "I'm just a little Cape. How can I understand you talking to me about this? It's painful, right? They were originally used in microsurgery. One by one, the transparent spikes pierced into Doctor Strange's skin little by little." Ebony Maw looked at Doctor Strange, who was struggling with fear and pain, and then said, "Lord Thanos wants the time stone, and I have never let him down. If I offer you the time stone to Lord Thanos, it means I'm not doing a good job. Hand over the original stone." In this environment, Ebony Maw's deep voice combined with its terrifying face, that can scare children to tears, is enough to make a healthy adult collapse on the spot. Not to mention that it also has its own racial talent. Ebony Maw also has another name called Black Tongue Counselor. In another universe, the Ebony Maw of that universe once drove Doctor Strange of that world crazy with just one sentence. Can this guy be so strong? Seeing the record of Ebony Maw in the parallel universe, everyone was shocked. Strange is still very confident in his willpower. Not everyone can go through tens of thousands of different deaths and continue to shout words of negotiation to a demon. But that Ebony Maw in another universe actually drove himself crazy. Actually, I did rebel, but I have to give some face to Doctor Strange. This is my last stubbornness as an oddball. The injured Ebony Maw was furious, just like a blue and white strategist, calm on the surface, but actually easily exploded, not as steady as a strongman. Right, tram. Right square bracket. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89, WandaVision. It's painful, isn't it? Ebony Maw's deep voice is still exerting psychological pressure on Doctor Strange. He is a professional at playing psychological warfare. "Any one of these needles." Ebony Maw turned around and said, "It can kill your friend." Iron Man raised his hand cannon and looked at Ebony Maw. "Let me first say that we are not friends. I only came to save him out of my professional ethics as a superhero." Iron Man refuted mercilessly. "You are really a qualified superhero." Strange looked at Iron Man on the screen and complained to Tony beside him, "Thank you for saving me." "You're welcome." Tony shrugged and found a bottle of wine that didn't have a name, but tasted quite right to him, and took a big sip. "That's not something weird, is it?" Peter, who had a psychological shadow on the drinks and food in the screening room, quietly asked Hickory beside him. "I haven't seen it, but the cinema shouldn't have drinks that are harmful to the human body. Then if you drink too much water, you will die." I was speechless. "You can't save him. Your strength is nothing compared to mine." Ebony Maw raised his hand, and two metal creations floated up. "Although I don't know what they do, they should be able to kill people, based on their tonnage, yes, but this kid watches a lot of movies." After saying that, Iron Man fired a macro missile at the wall of the spaceship beside him. Another advantage of the nano-metal suit is that even physical weapons such as missiles can be accurately calculated and controlled to maximize their power. A hole that was just the right size was blown out. Ebony Maw never expected that the cunning Earthlings would use dirty tricks when they couldn't beat him, which would help him kill him on the spot. Unexpectedly, Ebony Maw was sucked out, and his entire body surface quickly froze. Ebony Maw, the famous black-tongued counselor among the Black Order, was frozen to death in space for no apparent reason. In the spaceship, Doctor Strange, who was almost in a coma due to Ebony Mawr's torture, was also almost sucked away under the influence of the air pressure. The Cloak Man, who was eager to protect his master, quickly flew over to save Doctor Strange. But this time, the Cloak Man was not strong enough to hold on firmly. In the end, it was Spider-Man who pulled Doctor Strange back with his magical spider silk. Iron Man followed closely and quickly repaired the hole that was blown open. The Black Order. 3/4 this guy just died like that. In the screening room, everyone discussed. This guy's fighting ability is obvious to all. Although he is ugly, his natural style and elegance still left a deep impression on everyone. Compared with the Black Dwarf who can only scream, Ebony Maw performed extremely well. In the previous Thanos attack clip, Ebony Maw also easily used telekinesis and metal to control the seriously injured awakened Thor. By the way, Ebony Maw freezes very quickly. Peter suddenly asked, logically speaking, even if he will die in the space environment, it shouldn't be so fast. Indeed. Tony said, the human body will not be hurt too much if it is directly exposed to space for 30 to 60 seconds, and under the sunlight, he should become barbecue instead of freezing quickly. That can only be regarded as the special physique of aliens. On the temple second, Thanos looked at the golden infinity gauntlet he had just brought back and said nothing. Ebony Maw was quite emotional when he saw his unclear death. Are you scared? Thanos asked suddenly. Yes. Ebony Maw answered subconsciously, and then immediately added, I'm afraid that I can no longer serve you in the future. Remember to find someone to develop a set of space protective clothing for you later. Yes, sir. Thanos looked at the frozen Ebony Maw in the video. The screening room here gave a close-up. He had a hunch that his group of crouching dragons and phoenixes would have to be sent to that backward planet. Sir, do you still need to save the dwarf star? General Corvus asked cautiously. Don't worry. Thanos put the Infinity Gauntlet aside and said, I promised the Dwarf King Eitri to spare his life. As for the other dwarves, they are not a threat. You go and cut off the hands of Eitri. No, all the dwarves, and bring them back. Go. Yes, sir. Prepare to turn around and head to Earth. Yes. Next, there are only 3 guys left. Thanos calculated silently. The scene changed and came to a hotel. Wanda sat on the bed in a white nightgown, while Vision looked out the window with a worried look on his face. Suddenly, Vision frowned and covered his forehead. Dear? Wanda looked at Vision who had a headache and hurried forward to ask worriedly, again, the gem. It seems to be talking to me. At the same time, in the world of WandaVision. From now on, the worlds of Wanda and Vision will be collectively referred to as the world of WandaVision. Whatever he said, Vision suddenly covered his forehead. Little Vision. Wanda looked at Vision who was covering his forehead, then looked at Vision on the screen, and hurried forward to help him sit down. I'm fine. The mind gem on Vision's forehead flashed orange-yellow light. Wanda put her hand on Vision's forehead, and the dark red power of chaos flashed by. How is it? What do you feel? I only feel you. Wanda looked at Vision affectionately, and at this time, a vibranium fighter plane came to this town. They're here. Vision picked up Wanda and flew over slowly, and the live broadcast screen in the screening room was also very considerately reduced to the size of a mobile phone and floated behind Wanda. Long time no see, Captain. Looking at the man, Vision nodded, but the orange-yellow light on his forehead could not be concealed. We heard that you had an emergency, so we borrowed a vibranium fighter from Wakanda and came over. The Black Widow with white hair in the driver's seat asked, what happened that made you so anxious to get us together again? Wanda, are you pregnant? I think it's that. Captain America in WandaVision pointed to the screen behind Wanda. Wanda blushed, turned her head, and saw a live broadcast screen reduced to the size of a mobile phone screen floating behind her. Captain, can you see this screen? Of course. Any problem? Okay. Anyway, listen to my explanation first. Very good. The clip of WandaVision showing off their love was perfectly skipped. The two saw the news of the attack on New York and the disappearance of Iron Man on the TV on the roadside. But in the next second, a sharp blade pierced through Vision's vibranium body, accompanied by Vision's screams. His camouflage could no longer hold on, and his original appearance was revealed. Fuck. Ultron. It's that devil. The elders in the screening room were collectively furious. Is that the crazy robot that destroyed the entire universe in your mouth? Constantine looked at Vision, who was thrown aside and had no power to fight back, and asked in confusion, "It looks very weak. It should be the same body." After a brief furiousness, Bruce Wayne was the first to react and said, "It was also said in the previous video that it was you Avengers who took the body originally prepared by Ultron and created a new artificial intelligence life form, Vision. Then in the world of Infinite Ultron, the Avengers' actions failed, causing Infinite Ultron to evolve into a complete form." Everyone reacted at this time. Tom Vaughan Lawler, the actor who plays Ebony Maw, is said to be a drama actor. However, I have collected a lot of information and only found a lot of information about movies and TV series. Is there anyone who knows more and can provide some additional information? Chapter 90. I apologize. Due to the unethical sneak attack by Corvus Glaive, Vision was immediately killed on the spot, and it specifically stabbed him in the waist, piercing through him. Wanda was about to rescue our group of teammates, but was blasted away by another sneak attack by Proxima Midnight. Corvus Glaive stepped on Vision with one foot, with a ruthless expression, and directly picked up an instrument and pointed it at the Mind Stone on Vision's forehead, and pressed it down, preparing to knock the Mind Stone off Vision's forehead. Fortunately, Wanda finally reacted, and a fist-sized chaos energy ball directly blew Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight away. Then Wanda dragged Vision with the power of chaos in one hand, and took herself with the power of chaos in the other hand, and took off from the spot, fleeing the scene. Are these two aliens so strong? Looking at Vision, who was beaten by Corvus Glaive and had no power to fight back, Peter asked in confusion, "Isn't that Vision the ultimate form of Ultron? Ultron is so powerful, why is he so weak when it comes to Vision?" "You can't say that. Vision was ambushed first, and then Ultron gathered the power of 6 Infinity Stones, and Vision only had 1. That's not right. Ultron only used the Mind Stone to cut Thanos' purple potato spirit in half. How come Vision couldn't use it?" Thanos. Corvus Glaive's knife has a special curse. Once ordinary life is cut by this knife, the wound cannot be healed. It also has great interference and destructive power for mechanical objects. Thanos. Also, can you explain to me what I mean by being split in half? Video continues. After briefly avoiding the pursuit of Corvus Glaive and his wife, Wanda used her own power to repair Vision's superficial injuries. Corvus Glaive's blow caused extremely high damage. Vision's internal mechanical structure was basically destroyed, and the entire system had problems. Not to mention using the invincible Mind Stone to cut Corvus Glaive and his wife into pieces of ice. Even the previous virtualization and even the ability to fly were lost. Wanda only repaired Vision's external injuries, and Wanda was helpless with the real troublesome internal injuries. After all, Wanda's ability has not yet fully awakened at this time. If it was the real Scarlet Witch, let alone the 4 Obsidian Generals, even if Thanos came, he would only be crushed into a ball by Wanda. Looking at Vision's miserable state, Wanda subconsciously hugged Vision. Vision also hugged Wanda, his eyes full of solemnity. Wanda looked at the horrific scene on the screen, and the dark red energy on her body subconsciously leaked out. Even the fighter plane made of pure vibranium began to crumble. Wanda. At Vision's shout, Wanda quickly woke up. "Don't worry, we'll be fine." Vision said, "That's just our counterpart. Now that we know the future, we just need to be prepared for it. Thanos hasn't come yet. The Mind Stone just called me for the first time. We still have time to gather the Avengers and face the enemy together." Wanda nodded and once again noticed the narration. After all, Wanda's ability has not yet fully awakened. If it was the real Scarlet Witch, not to mention the Black Order, even if Thanos came, she would only be crushed into a ball by Wanda. Awakened? Wanda touched the awakening acceleration card in her pocket. She seemed to feel that all this was arranged. The video continues. Before the couple Wanda and Vision could say a few words, the other party chased them again. General Corvus Glaive once again wrestled with Vision, and Wanda, the mage, was forced to fight the assassin Proxima Midnight in close combat. Corvus Glaive grabbed Vision's neck and said, "Hand over the gem and spare her life." At this moment, Vision finally recovered some strength, kicked his legs and directly crashed into the bell tower in the distance with Corvus Glaive. On the ground, Proxima Midnight has been suppressing Wanda. To be precise, Wanda has been fighting with Proxima Midnight until now, which is already an extraordinary performance. In the husband group in the sky, Vision exploded under the stimulation of Corvus Glaive's words. "You actually want to hurt Wanda?" Vision punched Corvus Glaive so hard that his eyes went black. After all, his fists were made of vibranium, which might not work well against weapons with full armor penetration, but flesh and blood still have an advantage in fighting. Vision threw Corvus Glaive far away with a back throw, and then used all his strength to shoot a mind gem laser, but was blocked by Corvus Glaive with his spear that killed anyone who stabbed him. Because Vision's body was not good, he had no spare energy to move when attacking, and General Corvus Glaive shot back. Then he shot back the laser, and then General Corvus Glaive rushed over and continued to dig the mind gem on Vision's forehead. Wanda on the ground saw this and hurriedly controlled Proxima Midnight to the side and rushed over to help. Let him go. At this moment, Wanda, who was beautiful and saved the hero, was like a god of war. She easily fought two people at once and sent a chaos energy ball to send General Corvus Glaive flying 5 meters away on the spot. Wanda picked up Vision and wanted to fly away, but was attacked by Proxima Midnight on the ground. Her weapon had a laser effect, and a laser shot knocked Wanda and Vision to a station. Seeing that he could not escape, Vision hurriedly persuaded Wanda to leave by herself. But Wanda once again chose to stand in front of Vision, just like before. Facing the murderous couple of Corvus Glaive, Wanda was not afraid, because behind me is the person I want to protect. Wanda, who has lost her loved ones more than once, now stands in front of Vision to protect him with the idea that even if they die, they must die together. Behind, a train sped by. The most sensitive Proxima Midnight was the first to feel something was wrong. She frowned and looked over there. Wanda also looked in the direction of Proxima Midnight and saw a black shadow appear on the platform on the other side. In fact, if Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight pounced on Wanda, she might have sent her away in advance, but the two might have been moved by the couple relationship between Vision and Wanda and did not take action for a while, just waiting for reinforcement to take action. Seeing this, Thanos, who was somewhat unhappy with the death of Ebony Maw on Temple 2nd, frowned even more. What were you two doing? If you had just gone up and hit the enemy twice, you might have been able to finish him off. The opponent was so vulnerable, and you were just watching the show with her? Do I need to teach you this kind of fighting technique? Thanos stared at the two of them, and Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight's legs softened, and they knelt down. Father, spare me. Father, spare me. Humph. If you two still do such stupid things in the next video. Humph. I have deleted my subjective thoughts, and all the narration in the previous chapters is gone. Now it's all the plots in the movie. If I delete more, it will just be a retelling of the movie plot. Chapter 91-8. Proxima Midnight threw the weapon in her hand at the shadow, but the shadow dodged it and took it. Seeing this, Thanos' blood pressure went up, and Proxima Midnight's temperature went down. Corvus Glaive silently moved his position. Is your laser broken? Thanos asked, suppressing his anger. Although he didn't want to kill anyone right now, it didn't mean that he could tolerate the stupid operation of his hands. In comparison, Ebony Maw's approach was particularly excellent. As the saying goes, there is no harm without comparison. Ebony Maw, thank you for the assist from my teammates. Proxima Midnight still had a shocked expression on her face, and the man who took her weapon walked out of the shadows. It was Captain America. The moment they saw Captain America, Wanda and Vision finally let go of their worries. The next moment, a red, black, and silver figure flew out and kicked Proxima Midnight 10 meters away. Falcon appears. Then Falcon released the mechanical aircraft to attract Corvus Glaive's attention. Captain America threw Proxima Midnight's weapon away. Another figure on the side rushed out, took Proxima Midnight's weapon and hit Corvus Glaive's knee with his backhand, directly hitting Corvus Glaive's knee. That person was Black Widow. Black Widow turned around and stabbed Proxima Midnight's weapon directly into Corvus Glaive's body. It looked like, even if it didn't penetrate him, it would be almost the same. Then he kicked Corvus Glaive away with a roundhouse kick. The next second Proxima Midnight recalled the shocked weapon and was about to stab this damn earth creature to death. As a result, Captain America picked up Corvus Glade's spearless blade and fought with Proxima Midnight. It is indeed called this name, and it was made by Thanos himself. It also houses Corvus Glade's soul. As long as the battle blade is not destroyed, it doesn't matter how many times Corvus Glade's body is destroyed. Then the three of them fought a big battle. The last battle ended with Proxima Midnight being kicked away by Corvus Glaive again. After the defeat, the two decisively summoned the spaceship and ran away, leaving only the Avengers. The scene changed and came to a large grassland. On the grassland, there is a city full of high technology. In the tallest building in the city, everyone in a laboratory is studying Vision's situation. This is Wakanda, the most technologically advanced country on Earth, with rich vibranium resources, advanced aerospace technology and laser weapons, and the most primitive fighting style. Now after studying for a while, Shuri, the sister of the king of Wakanda, concluded that they could separate Vision and the Mind Stone by cutting off neurons one by one, and finally destroy the Mind Stone alone. Isn't the Mind Stone one of the 6 powers of the universe? Can it be destroyed? No, to be precise, the Mind Stone is just a carrier. Strange said, it's like a manifestation of power. The Mind Stone can be destroyed because the power of the mind will not disappear, but return to the universe, and then the universe will condense a brand new Mind Stone. But to destroy the Mind Stone, at least the same level of power as a Mind Stone is required. Among the 6 Infinity Stones, only the Power Stone has this effect. Strange frowned and said, could it be that Thanos gave the stone again? It shouldn't be. Why would Thanos destroy the Mind Stone when he gave away his life? Question begins. Who destroyed the Mind Stone in the end? A. Thanos holding the Power Stone. B. Thor, who has evolved into a fully awakened mode. C. Iron Man, who returned to Earth. D. Wanda. E. Dormammu, the alien demon summoned by Doctor Strange. F. Vision himself. G. Wakanda. H. The Mind Stone exploded on the spot. This quiz is for all members to answer. Please write your answer on the screen in front of you. The answer will be collected after 30 minutes. If you answer correctly, you will be awarded 10 points. If you answer incorrectly, you will draw a pain card. The penalty for this question is not serious. The main reason is that there are too many answers. Abktefg. 8 answers. Choose one from 8. Well, since everyone can get points, let's cooperate well. Tony Stark took the lead and said, I think we should rule out A first. Thanos is impossible. Loki, have you ever thought of another situation? Did Thanos accidentally blow up the Mind Stone during the battle? Captain America, this one, no, even if the Mind Stone is attacked by the Power Stone of the same level, it cannot be a glass product that breaks at the touch. It is unlikely that Thanos destroyed the Mind Stone. Thanos, it is basically impossible. I have been committed to realizing my ideals all my life, and the Infinity Stones are the fastest way for me to realize my ideals. If you don't tell me, I'm not sure that the Infinity Stones can be reunited. Even if they can, I don't know how long it will take. If that Thanos is really me, then there is only one possibility for him to destroy the Infinity Stones personally. That is, he has achieved his ideal, and he destroyed himself to prevent others from competing for the Infinity Stones. Strange, then you are really a saint. Wolverine, what about the second one? Thor? That guy did not die in the previous Q&A. Does he also know that kind of rainbow magic? Captain America, wait a minute, let me ask. Avengers building. Thor, what do you think? I don't know, how about I try to smash it? Thor raised his beloved Mjolnir hammer, and was eager to try to swing his hammer. Awakening Thor. Thor, do you have a second form? Just like Pokemon? What second form? I'm strong enough now. Listen, son of Odin. Master Mordo said seriously, a true master always has the heart of an apprentice. Humility is very important. If you always think that you are invincible, then you will never grow into a strong man. Then what happened when Thanos attacked may happen again in the future. Mordo's words were like thunder from the sky, which severely criticized Thor. His smile froze. Enough, you third-rate wizard. Loki came over with a pair of small daggers in his hands. Who do you think you are? You dare to teach Thor a lesson? Even if he wants to teach me a lesson, it's my father, and then me. How dare you? The results of the teacher qualification certificate came out. I passed one subject, just barely. A buddy of mine in the dormitory next to me passed all the subjects without reviewing. I can't accept it. Those who shared the same dorm with him can attest that they played games all night before the exam and didn't study much before that. I can't accept that at all. Chapter 90 to 20 minutes. Seeing that this was about to turn into a fight, everyone rushed to stop the fight. Thor pulled back Loki, who was about to fight Mordo for 300 rounds. Captain, option B is possible. I recently discovered that a new power has awakened in my body. I call it the power of Thor. A trace of electric arc jumped in Thor's hand, and he said, "It is very likely that I awakened a divine power in my body due to the previous stimulation. So it is very likely that I completely awakened the power in my body under the stimulation after Thanos' attack. Then how strong will it be when it is fully awakened? I don't know," Thor said with a silly smile, "but it will definitely make me stronger. I'm already the strongest Avenger. Now that I'm stronger, I can definitely smash the head of that purple potato spirit into pieces. If you can smash Thanos' head into pieces, then you won't destroy the mind gem," Loki said coldly. "Are you willing to give up such a powerful power as the mind gem? Moreover, this is one of the 6 infinity gems. No one dares to predict the consequences of its destruction. I don't think you will destroy it if you are not forced to do so. Maybe you destroyed the mind gem and the robot together without even having time to peel it off. And it's not like you haven't done this before. Back in Svartheim, the world where the dark elves live in the 9 realms, you picked up a hammer and smashed it on the reality stone. What happened? You almost killed yourself." Although Loki's words were unpleasant to hear, they still provided everyone with a lot of information. For example, if the Mind Stone is to be destroyed, it is very likely that it will be destroyed when Thanos attacks, and there is no other way. As for Thor, listen to me, don't choose B. Captain. Trust me, just choose B. Thor, my stupid brother. You just said you should be humble. This is not arrogance. This is self-confidence. Come on, brother. You are just an egomaniac. Loki, I'm an egomaniac. Then what are you? It's simple. The younger brother of an arrogant and violent guy. Captain America sorted out the information he got here and sent it to the live broadcast room. Then what about C? Iron Man returning to Earth? Tony Stark looked at the third option and said confidently, "I think, with my ability, I can definitely do it." Loki, awakening. Stop talking about mortals. You may not even understand Thanos' spaceship and be trapped in space. Tony Stark, that's better than someone being defined as a villain by the Time Administration. Loki, fuck. Bruce Wayne, it's not impossible. I'm not talking about being trapped in space, but returning. Bruce Wayne, if you don't have time to return, then this option is directly invalid. Tony Stark, no, I will definitely come back. The Earth still needs me. Wanda, but you guys broke up. Tony Stark, Wolverine, okay, let's look at the following options. Wolverine, there are 5 options left. Wanda, Dormammu summoned by Strange, Vision himself, Wakanda, and the Mind Stone exploding on the spot. Wolverine, which of these options do you think is more reliable? Strange, first of all, rule out E. I can't summon Dormammu to Earth no matter what. I was the one who expelled it with my own hands and made a contract with it so that it would never come to Earth again. Bruce Wayne, in that case, what about the remaining 4? Captain America, Wanda, are you there? Wanda? Wanda, I'm fine, Captain. Wanda, my own words, can destroy the Mind Stone. Loki, impossible. You're just a mortal. That's the Mind Stone, one of the 6 Infinity Stones. Tony Stark, listen, Bambi, do you have to let me show the video of you being beaten up by Hulk in my office before you're happy? Captain America, Wanda, go on. Wanda, my power is stimulated by the Mind Stone, and it has the same origin as the Mind Stone, so my power can cause damage to the Mind Stone. Wanda, Vision is the host of the Mind Stone. No, to be precise, the Mind Stone is a part of Vision, an organ. Vision himself cannot destroy it. This is what Vision said himself. Wanda, just like the human brain, you can't destroy the brain without using weapons, and Vision can't use the power of the Mind Stone, to destroy the Mind Stone, so option G can be eliminated. Ultraman Hickory. Well, let's summarize. Ultraman Hickory. First of all, based on the information we have now, option A Thanos, option E Dormammu summoned by Doctor Strange, and Vision himself can be eliminated. You have changed from 8 choices to 5 choices. Ultraman Hickory. Now it depends on these options. Ultraman Hickory. By the way, can't the screening room give a little more hint? Ultraman Ace. How about, try it? Everyone in the screening room looked at each other, and Hikaru stood up and shouted, "Screening room, can you give us some more hints?" Yes, system prompt. The destruction of the Mind Stone was not an accident. Okay, then it can be ruled out that Thanos accidentally destroyed the Mind Stone during the battle. Now the situation on the field is still 1 out of 5, but at least one wrong answer has been ruled out. Then can the Mind Stone explode by itself? No. Strange said, among the Infinity Stones, except for the most mysterious Soul Stone, the intelligence of the other 5 stones is not as good as that of animals. They are like tools, and can only be used by humans. 1. I will add a little bit. The Mind Stone has the function of affecting people's minds. This is not the subjective consciousness of the Mind Stone, but its passive effect. It's like if you put a snowflake next to the sun and the snowflake is vaporized on the spot. Do you blame the sun for being too hot? The energy released inadvertently by the Infinity Stones can also cause irreversible effects on ordinary creatures. 1. So the main Infinity Stones were preserved in various ways. According to the records of Kamatage, the power of the Infinity Stones is too strong. Even if they do nothing, they will have a huge impact on the surroundings. Therefore, the Time Stone was sealed by the Eye of Agamotto, and the energy scattered by the Space Stone formed a protective shell, which is the Cosmic Cube. The unprotected Mind Stone will affect the minds of ordinary creatures around it. Loki, according to the records of Asgard, the other particles, that is, the Reality Stone, will affect the surrounding environment and cause various magical phenomena. At the same time, the Reality Stone will automatically look for a host, but if the host's body is too weak, the Reality Stone will kill the host. Loki, if the destruction of the Mind Stone is not unintentional, can Thor's option be eliminated? Captain America, it shouldn't be possible. We can't guarantee whether the destruction of the Mind Stone is, because its power is too strong, so we choose to destroy it. So we may also actively destroy the Mind Stone after defeating Thanos. Strange, but the last option G can be eliminated. The Mind Stone can be destroyed by the Power Stone, but it cannot self-destruct. It does not have this power. Wolverine. Okay, choose one of the 4. Peter Parker. Gentlemen, almost 10 minutes have passed. Thanos, wait a minute. Why can't I collect the 6 gems, and then successfully snap my fingers, and finally destroy the 6 Infinity Gems? Bruce Wayne, it shouldn't be. The Thanos holding the power gem is not the Thanos who has collected all 6 gems. You have to wait until all 6 gems are extremely powerful before snapping your fingers. Thanos, isn't it the handheld after collecting all 6 Infinity Gems? Very good. Tony slapped his forehead and sat on the sofa helplessly. Now this question is completely deadlocked. I would like to add that among Wanda's own powers, the strongest one is definitely the power of chaos of Sithan, and the probability of modification, which is in WandaVision, and the Mind Gem is a trigger. But Wanda herself doesn't know. Chapter 93 Iguan is invincible. What about Wakanda? Constantine asked. I've never heard of this country. Although I don't usually pay much attention to the news, it's impossible for a country with such advanced technology to have no news at all. Neuronectomy. Tony suddenly said this term. This is not as simple as chopping meat with a knife. Tony Stark, Captain, ask Jarvis to collect information about that country. Bruce Wayne, Alfu, you also go and find out if there is a country called Wakanda in our world. Ultraman Hickory, Ace, have you heard of Wakanda on Earth? Ultraman Ace, unheard of. Okay, I'm about to find the nest of the Babas of the Yabo people. Talk to you later. Ace probably doesn't know what happened to the other person who said to Hickory that he would talk to him later. Captain America, Jarvis's database describes Wakanda as an extremely poor, completely agricultural African country. Alfred, Master, I searched the database and couldn't find any information about Wakanda. A small agricultural country? Tony raised his eyebrows and looked at the buildings of Wakanda. This didn't look like what a small agricultural country should have. There are two hypotheses now. 1. Wakanda, at least Wakanda in our world, is a small agricultural country. 2. Wakanda is hidden because of its vibranium resources. WandaVision world. Wanda looked at the discussion barrages passing by and subconsciously took out the awakening card. I've decided. I want to use the awakening acceleration card. Wanda, the captain of this world, said, I still think it's better to let Tony help you check it when we get to the base. No, Captain, I need enough power to protect you. Although she said you, Wanda's eyes never left Vision. When the plane lands, I will immediately activate the acceleration card. Captain, I have grown up, and I'm no longer a little girl who needs your protection. Captain America wanted to say something else, but Black Widow interrupted him. Children will eventually grow up. We can't always protect them under our wings. Black Widow changed the subject and said the second half of the sentence, but even if they grow up, we can still break the legs of the evil people who have bad intentions towards them. Avengers base. After Captain America 3, Civil War, the Avengers moved here. This is Spider-Man 1, Homecoming, which is the Spider-Man movie in the Marvel world. In that movie, there is a plot where Happy is busy moving items in the Avengers building. So in order to distinguish the two Marvel worlds dominated by the Avengers, the two locations are the Avengers building and the Avengers base. A vibranium fighter slowly descended to the tarmac. Obviously, no one came out to greet them. Captain America was a little hesitant at this moment. Let's go. Black Widow patted Captain America's shoulder and walked over first. The one who came out to greet them was Colonel Rhodes, the War Machine. Hi, Rhodes. Hi, Natasha. Rhodes still had this auxiliary machine on his leg. After hugging Black Widow, he bumped fists with the captain. Where's Tony? I'm here. Tony Stark, with a dark face, came out from the back. Tony, you don't deserve to call me by my name. The atmosphere was a little tense for a while, and finally Wanda broke the deadlock. Sorry, but time is urgent now. Wanda nodded to the captain, and then said, I'm going to start. Wanda manipulated the power of chaos to fly high in the sky and carefully injected a wisp of chaos power into the awakening acceleration card. Awakening acceleration card accelerates the awakening speed of the power in the user's body. The power of chaos was injected into the awakening acceleration card, and then a red light flashed, and the awakening acceleration card turned into a white light and entered Wanda's body. Then, nothing happened. In the screening room, the heated discussion continued. Magneto sat on the sofa tiredly, picked up a cup of drink called brain cell recovery fluid, and drank it in one gulp. Now after a 20-minute discussion, the original multiple choice question has become completely complicated and fragmented. Now he thinks any answer is possible. Forget it. It's just a pain card anyway. Magneto gritted his teeth and chose D. Wanda. First of all, the girl said that she had the ability to activate the Mind Stone. Secondly, the punishment for the mistake was only a pain card. Then, choose the shortest one among n long and one short. Finally, he had an inexplicable liking for the girl whom he had never met, but only seen on video. Magneto quickly wrote down the answer, then sat aside and covered his ears. I don't want to listen. I don't want to listen. I don't want to listen. No one can shake my mind. However, what the mustache guy said seemed to make sense. It's getting more and more confusing. Tony glanced at the countdown impatiently. This is what smart people worry about. That is, thinking too much, and the more you think that every one of them is right. Everyone. I'll choose D first. Hickory filled in D. Wanda. Why? I just guessed one of several answers. Hickory said calmly, I don't lack points and rewards at all, and the pain card will not endanger my life. There are so many choices now, I can only guess one. Me, I'm the same as Mr. Hickory. Peter also filled in option D. Then you have to give me a suitable reason. Reasons? Hickory held his chin and said, first of all, Thanos, this is indeed possible, but I don't want to choose it. B. Thor, I don't know the other party's strength, and the other party has tried to destroy another Infinity Stone before, but failed. See Tony yourself. I do believe in your scientific research ability. You are a very good scientist, but you are trapped in space. D. Wanda. The little girl Wanda said that she has the power to destroy the Mind Stone, which is indeed possible. E. Strange has already stated that this option is impossible. F. We have also discussed it. G. Wakanda. This option is too general. H. It is not impossible for the Mind Stone to explode on the spot, but this option seems to be pulled out to make up the number. Exclude them, and I guess Wanda. I admit that I actually want to study the pain card. Hikaru said, we in the kingdom of light are all light particle life. I'm curious about what would happen if I drew a pain card. For example, diarrhea. My previous insomnia didn't have much effect on me. It would be even better if I could draw the invincible mosquito from the interdimensional killer group. Kid, you don't have to follow me. The screening room didn't say that you can't hand in a blank paper and give up. The last sentence was said by Hikaru to Peter. No, I believe in Mr. Hikaru's luck. Okay then. Time is up. Start collecting the papers. Tony Stark. C. Bruce Wayne. D. Ultraman Hikaru. D. Magneto. D. Strange. D. Wong. ABCDG. Thanos. A. Captain America. B. Peter Parker. D. Loki. Blank paper. Wanda. D. Alfred. D. Ultraman Ace. Blank paper. Wolverine. D. Constantine. Blank paper. Strange. Wong. What did you write? Tony Stark. Why did you all choose D? I just saw a hell of a joke, let me tell you. Chapter 94. 7 steps away. The gun is fast. My sister has a fever. Children are prone to fever in this season. She didn't come back until 9:30. Please understand. Captain America, what's this weird feeling? Captain America looked at the same D. And then looked at his lonely bee. Suddenly, he felt like he was the only one in the class who chose a different answer after checking the answers. Captain, believe me, it's absolutely okay. Thor said, if I'm wrong, I'll give you my hammer. Come on, man, no one can lift that thing except you. Hawkeye joked, but everyone looked at him with a weird look. Did I say something wrong? Clint, you came a little late, so you didn't know the first question. Even though Black Widow had undergone special training, she was about to laugh at this moment. The first question was who could lift Thor's hammer, except Thor. Then the answer given by the screening room was Captain. Impossible. Loki was furious when he heard it. How could a mortal lift my brother's hammer? Loki said he couldn't accept it. He is a god. He is Thor's brother. He couldn't lift the hammer, so how could a mortal lift it? In the live broadcast room, everyone was shocked by Wong's feat. Wong, it didn't say that this was a single choice question. Wong, so I chose all the possible answers. Strange. Wong, haven't you ever taken an exam? Even if it is a multiple choice question, if there is a wrong answer, the whole question will be wrong. Wong, what are you afraid of? I don't even have 1.25 UN on me now. What else do I have to be afraid of? Wong, insomnia. Toothache? This is just a little difficulty in my practice for me. The test papers have been collected. The answer will appear in the next video. The video continues. In the laboratory of Wakanda, Princess Susan of Wakanda operated an extremely sophisticated machine, cutting the neurons connecting vision and the mind stone bit by bit. Suddenly, the alarm sounded, and the black female General Ojok released a holographic projection and said, something is approaching. The scene suddenly switched to outer space, and a strange shaped spaceship released a spaceship that looked like a cut sandwich and flew towards the earth. Oh my god. Tony saw this and immediately began to mock and ridicule. First it was donuts and then sandwiches. Do you love Earth's food so much, Thanos? Look at the Trisorans, and then look at you. How lucky you are. In the matter of Thanos, everyone who knew his deeds, including the two Lokis, could stand on the same front. As the saying goes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. After seeing the future in which he was strangled to death by Thanos, the two Lokis also chose to oppose Thanos. For a time, Thanos was the enemy of the world. In this regard, Thanos didn't care. Just say it. Can these weaklings kill themselves by talking? Are you kidding? Thanos has traveled the universe for many years and killed so many people. His corpses are enough to fill several Zinder planets. If curses and swearing were effective, he would have died long ago without even a proton left. A spaceship hit Wakanda's energy shield and exploded on the spot, while other spaceships scattered around Wakanda. In an instant, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The shockwave caused by the falling spaceship was easily blocked by Wakanda's energy shield. Captain America and the Wakanda King Black Panther looked at each other and knew that the time for battle had come. Black Panther T'Challa quickly began to deploy troops and said to his men, "Give him a new shield." This he refers to Captain America. Oh. Tony frowned. Captain lost his shield in the future? With Captain's personality, he will definitely not lose his shield. If it is taken away by the enemy, then Captain and I will definitely take it back. No matter who the enemy is, the most likely possibility is that it was damaged in battle, although I really didn't expect anything to destroy Captain's shield. Besides, even if it is really broken, I can fix it. But they said before that Captain and I had a falling out. Tony's thoughts were spinning rapidly. He was really curious about where the shield, which was Captain's representative symbol, went. That thing was not only the symbol of Captain America, but also one of his father's relics. It was broken. I didn't fix it for him, or simply, I was the one who took the shield. Tony vaguely felt why he and Captain had a falling out. Forget it. Forget it. I must have thought too much. Tony Stark continued to focus on the video. Wait, isn't this my anti-Hulk armor? Looking at the golden and red giant armor in the video, Tony was a little excited. Did I come back from outer space? Tony was very confident in himself. If he came back, then answer C would be 80% correct. No, if I really came back, I would probably be doing neuron cutting experiments in the laboratory. Sure enough, the next second, Dr. Banner's head appeared in the giant suit. A golden red suit ran on the grassland of Wakanda, and the operator inside was Dr. Banner. And there were many extremely high-tech hovercrafts around it, and the people in the cars were holding extremely advanced and gorgeous spears. Drive Banner was laughing while operating the anti-Hulk suit, and the next second he was knocked to the ground by a stone. General Okoye, who happened to pass by, didn't say anything, but the disgust in his eyes was better than 1,000 words. The next second, the hovercraft had arrived in front of the energy shield, and the Wakanda warriors in animal skins turned over and got off the car quickly, holding Wakanda's special vibranium weapons, spears in their hands. Peter had a question mark on his face. Why do they have spears? They are aliens, with great strength, brutal attacks, and some of them can use magic. Tony pondered and said, maybe this is their tradition. On the surface, they look like spears, but they are actually various high-tech weapons. For example, this is actually a laser gun, but it just happened to be made into a spear. Otherwise, it is really hard to explain that in a country that can perform neuron cutting surgery, use hovercraft for travel, and have energy shields that can resist falling spacecraft from high altitudes. Their soldiers still use cold weapons. Even the coldest cold weapons are not very useful in modern warfare. As the saying goes, 7 steps away, the gun is fast, and within 7 steps, the gun is fast and accurate. Generally speaking, as long as it is not a causal weapon like Captain America's shield, the use of personal bravery and cold weapons on the modern battlefield is just a matter of a few shells. The Wakanda warriors quickly lined up and took defensive postures, ready to go, just waiting for the enemy to attack. I suggest you search for machine guns here. One of their shells is as thick as a bottle of Coke, and it can fire thousands of rounds per minute, which is an average of more than 10 rounds per second. Even the Maginot Line can be turned into SpongeBob SquarePants. Chapter 95. Watching a small theater. Dark Knight Proxima walked to the energy shield and said coldly, "We will get the Mind Stone for our father." "That's impossible. In Wakanda, you will get nothing but blood and ruins." T'Challa's words showed his attitude. Dark Knight Proxima sneered, "We don't care about bloodshed at all." Then, Dark Knight Proxima raised his sword. The decisive battle broke out. As soon as Dark Knight Proxima finished speaking, countless monsters rushed out of the woods. This monster is called Vanguard. It is not afraid of death. It is extremely fast, and there are a lot of them. Countless vanguards crashed into the energy shield. Under the unremitting impact, several vanguards squeezed through the energy shield and got half of their bodies in, and then they were cut in half by the healing energy shield. Although they can still easily block the opponent's attack now, Captain America, Black Panther, or the others can all see that this group of guys is endless and there are so many of them. As long as time goes on, it is inevitable that a few of them will get in. Sure enough, some of the vanguards got in directly at the cost of being burned all over. The Wakanda side immediately set up a battle array. The Wakanda warriors pulled the long cloth and animal skins on their bodies and blocked them in front of them and actually generated a series of energy shields. Then they raised their spears and aimed at the vanguards, and a series of azure blue lasers flew out. Although the gun skills were somewhat random, the power was enough. Dr. Banner also drove the anti-Hulk armor to fire lasers to block the enemy. I said that a country with such advanced technology would not use spears to fight in close combat. Energy shields and laser guns, although the shape is a bit retro, the power is still good. Tony nodded and was about to comment on it, but the next moment he saw Captain America's message. Captain America, Bucky. It's Bucky. Tony Stark. What? Captain America, Tony. It's really Bucky. Bucky is not dead yet. Tony Stark, Bucky? Sergeant Barnes? Captain America was very excited, but in WandaVision's world, in the Avengers base, another Iron Man had already gone berserk. Very good, so what are you going to tell me? Stark in WandaVision's world. Iron Man in WandaVision uses Stark to refer to him, because I need that guy to save the world, so let me let go of my hatred? No, Tony. Captain Steve, in WandaVision's world, wanted to say something, but he couldn't say a word when he had so many words to say. Stark wanted to leave in anger, but under the attraction of the unknown world and the warning of the alien enemy, he could only watch it. He was ready to marry Pepper, and he couldn't accept someone ruining it all. Looking at the vanguards rushing in all directions, Falcon and War Machine also took action, one firing a submachine gun at the Red Wings, and the other dropped a large number of high explosive bombs. Although the enemies in the attacked area were not densely populated, War Machine's output in a short time exceeded the damage of the Wakanda warriors shooting with lasers. Captain, if these monsters break through from the rear, then Vision will be in danger. Then we must leave them on the front battlefield. After saying this, Black Panther ordered to open the energy shield in front of them, leaving a hole to let the Vanguard army in to clean up. Avengers building. Thor's eyes lit up, and he was quite satisfied with Black Panther's order. That T'Challa is a true warrior. Thor nodded with satisfaction. I admire his courage very much. He is qualified to fight with me. Batum, a strong man over 2 meters tall, looked at the Vanguard army and said, "This will be the end of Wakanda." Oyek added with a firm look in his eyes, "That will also be the most tragic end in human history. Remove the defense." Black Panther looked at the Vanguard army in front of him with a firm face. As a king, he has to protect his people. He already knows about Thanos, and knows that if they fail, half of his people will lose their lives. Warriors are proud to die on the battlefield. Black Panther is a king, but also a warrior. As a king, he should protect his people. As a warrior, how can he run away from the enemy? The hymn of mankind is the hymn of courage. Long live Wakanda. The warriors of Wakanda launched a charge, and the one who rushed in the front was their king, T'Challa. The difference between charging with me and charging for me is still very obvious. Now, open it. Black Panther gave an order, and the energy shield was opened with a hole about 3 meters long. Countless vanguards rushed out of it. The scene was like a flood bursting through a dam, spectacular and terrifying. Black Panther and Captain America rushed to the front. They jumped into the army of vanguards and started killing. 2 of the strongest warriors on Earth faced a group of miscellaneous soldiers. Even though the opponent was outnumbered, the advantage was mine. Captain America's 2 new shields were like 2 extended brass knuckles. Not only were they more suitable for attacking, but they were also made of vibranium and were indestructible. Black Panther's battle suit even had the function of absorbing kinetic energy. From time to time, it exploded with purple shockwaves that shook off a group of enemies. At this moment, the armies of both sides finally rushed together and completely entered a cold weapon and hand-to-hand combat. How long will it take, Shuri? Black Panther asked Susan how long it would take to complete the neuron cutting operation through the communicator on the battlesuit. It's just the beginning, brother. Then you have to hurry up. Dr. Banner drove the anti-Hulk armor and plunged into the Vanguard army, but it was obviously the first time he used this weapon. Although his body shape was quite similar to Hulk, his operation was limited to normal actions. Even if he ran fast, he would be tripped by stones. So he was soon knocked down by a group of Vanguards. The war machines in the sky fired all their firepower, and one person dealt the highest damage in the team and took the most heads. After a round of bombardment, at least 1/3 of the Vanguards could not survive the first round of artillery fire and died. At this moment, Black Dwarf once again showed the qualities of an excellent auxiliary. He took the initiative to start a team fight, and his ultimate move controlled the ADC to throw a pincer over and knock the war machine down from the sky. At this moment, the Wakanda side was also in a disadvantage. There were too many people on the other side. Especially Dr. Banner, who is the biggest. Because of his big size and the most eye-catching color, he naturally attracted the most attention. A group of Vanguards pounced on the anti-Hulk armor and bit it madly. Seeing that the durability of the anti-Hulk armor was decreasing, Dr. Banner would soon die. A rainbow light fell from the sky and directly reached the battlefield. Is there any dubbing master who can dub the original sentence "Wakanda is over for Wakanda"? Please. By the way, the daily Indian joke, do you still remember the Indian Minister of Defense? Just the day before yesterday, the day after he died in the plane crash, the hearse carrying his body had a car accident on the way and was loaded on the mountain next to it. Although it is outrageous, since it is India, it is more or less reasonable. I will continue to pay attention. I don't know if there will be a follow-up. Doge. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96. 3,000 words. A battle axe with lightning flew out of the rainbow and swept across the battlefield. Everyone on the battlefield was instantly freed. Thanos, come out and die. The man did not show up, but the battle cry came first. It was Thor, the reborn and awakened thunder god. Following him was a magical tree man similar to the one in fantasy novels, and a raccoon holding a gun upright. Thor led the charge towards Thanos' army, leaping and flashing with lightning. The sky and the earth changed strangely, and dark clouds gathered. At this moment, Thor was no longer the hammer god Thor who could only summon lightning by throwing a hammer, but the real Thor. Thor, the god of thunder. Carrying the power of thunder, Thor chopped down with an axe, and endless lightning scattered, and countless vanguards turned into ashes under this move. And Vision's mind gem removal operation was still proceeding in an orderly manner. On the battlefield, the Earth side received a strong reinforcement, and the situation on the battlefield was reversed instantly. It took less than 3 minutes from being suppressed to being evenly matched. During the battle, Thor and the captain did not forget to tease each other about their appearance. Let me introduce you. This is my new friend, Little Tree. I am Groot. I'm Steve Rogers. Yeah. Ha ha ha. In the Avengers building, Thor happily hugged Loki. Brother. Do you see your brother's heroic appearance? Thor hugged Loki and laughed and said, that's right. This is my full strength after awakening. Yes. Ha 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 ha. Seeing the powerful Thor in the video, and then looking at this guy with Loki in one hand and a hammer in the other, and beer foam on his mouth, it is difficult for them to connect the two people together. When I wake up, I will fly to the universe and smash the purple potato spirit's head with my hammer. Then neither of us will have to die. Alright. Loki had to work hard to escape from Thor's clutches. He looked at Thor killing everyone on the screen, and could not help but fight him. Although he was reluctant to admit it, Thor, a guy with only missiles in his head, was really gifted in fighting. With such terrifying thunder, this guy could really be called the god of thunder instead of the god of hammer. But why is your hammer gone? Loki certainly noticed that Thor in the video was holding an axe instead of his iconic weapon, Thor's hammer. Could it be that he changed his weapon when he changed his hairstyle? What a terrifying thunder force. Master Mordo's eyelids were also twitching. Even if I use the boss its thunder, its power is far less than that of the Thor in the video. It seems that I don't need to draw the pain card this time. Captain America breathed a sigh of relief. The experience of running 30,000 meters with diarrhea before successfully left him with an unforgettable memory. The video continues. At this moment, a piece of the ground in Wakanda suddenly lifted up, and 5 huge gear machines drilled out from the ground. Retreat. Retreat immediately. Black Panther immediately ordered when he saw this. Fighting without fear of life and death is not sending death. Fighting with the idea that it doesn't matter if you die, and fighting with the determination to die are completely different. The 5 big wheels are rampaging all over the battlefield, regardless of whether they are crushing their own people or enemies. After all, Thanos' army has only 2 parts: the 4 obsidian generals and cannon fodder. At this moment, Wanda, who was accompanying Vision in the laboratory, finally couldn't sit still. She knew that she had to do something. Wanda stood up and flew into the battlefield. The scarlet light in her hand lit up, and the 5 huge iron wheels were actually lifted up. 5. Hundreds of tons of giant things. A lot of kinetic energy accumulated while running around the battlefield. Wanda lifted it up effortless and smashed it towards the vanguards. Countless vanguards were turned into meat paste to nourish the land of Wakanda. Oh my god. This girl's power is too terrifying. Everyone's eyelids jumped when they saw Wanda lift 5 giant meat grinders effortless and use them as weapons to hit people. Although Wanda's control of the power of chaos is quite rough, it is simply used to lift things and hit people. But when the power reaches a certain level, skills are no longer important. No matter how fancy you are, no matter how many skills you show off, it's useless in front of Wanda's fighting style. What a mess. I will slap you to death with a slap. Wanda perfectly interprets what it means to break all laws with one force. Haha. I guessed it right. Magneto saw Wanda's great power and felt stable. Loki, stupid guy, that's an infinity stone. How can it be destroyed by brute force? Magneto, you're just being stubborn. Magneto, I'm very discerning. Strange looked at the scarlet magic and suddenly found that this magic was very similar to the power of an alien demon he had seen in an ancient book. The power of chaos, Sithan. And the moment Proxima Midnight, who had been observing the battlefield, saw Wanda, he immediately said to the intercom in his hand, "She's out, do it." Not good. Bruce Wayne reacted quickly. It's that General Corvus Glaive. They're playing a sneak attack. A figure in a black robe holding a spear appeared in the palace of Wakanda and shot the guard effortless with one shot. Seeing this, Susan hurriedly accelerated the end of the operation, then picked up an energy wave weapon and turned around and shot a few times without hesitation. For ordinary people, these shots are deadly enough, but for General Corvus Glaive, they are useless. General Corvus Glaive knocked Princess Susan and the female guard away with one move, jumped off the platform, and planned to understand Vision, but found that the other party had disappeared. At this moment, Vision pounced and pushed General Corvus Glaive to fall from a height of dozens of meters. Everyone. Vision is in danger. Falcon keenly noticed something was wrong. Who will support Vision? Captain America hurriedly issued orders, but the battlefield was extremely tense. Except for Dr. Banner, who rushed over with the high mobility of the armor, everyone else was dragged. Wanda wanted to rush over, but was knocked to the ground by Proxima Midnight. He will die alone, and so will you. Proxima Midnight looked at Wanda and said coldly, "She is not alone." Black Widow and Ojek surrounded Proxima Midnight on the left and right. Then the 3 members of the women's group began to fight. In the jungle behind the Wakanda palace, Vision was knocked away by Black Dwarf just as he stood up. Fortunately, Dr. Banner arrived in time and stood in front of Vision. This is not the time in New York. This suit of armor could beat up Hulk in the past. Black Dwarf quickly pounced on this opponent who was about the same size as himself, but because of Dr. Banner's wrong operation, Black Dwarf and the anti-Hulk armor flew out together. Although Dr. Banner successfully took away an enemy, the biggest danger, General Corvus Glaive, was still there. Everyone. Vision needs urgent assistance. Banner, who was beaten by Black Dwarf and had no power to fight back, finally began to ask Hulk for help. Hulk, I know you like to appear at the end. Now is the last critical moment. Come on, man. In the mecha, Hulk came out briefly and shouted, "No." Then he went back in. Then go to hell. "You big green bastard. I'll do it myself," Dr. Banner roared. At this moment, he seemed to be possessed by the Hulk. He manipulated the anti-Hulk armor with only one arm left to successfully fight with Black Dwarf. In the end, he successfully defeated Black Dwarf with the characteristics of the armor. He directly grabbed Black Dwarf with the torn arm, and then used the flying function to send Black Dwarf into the sky. After sticking to Wakanda's energy shield for a while, Black Dwarf exploded on the spot. The 4 Obsidian Generals. To quarters. Why doesn't Hulk come out? Tony stroked his beard. You know, he has absolute confidence in Hulk. Although this big guy is fierce and will destroy the house at the slightest disagreement, which is no different from an oversized gamma bomb. If you talk about fighting, Hulk is definitely the first choice. But in the video, Hulk actually refused to fight. It would be great if we could figure out the reason. Then, next time this big guy comes out to cause trouble, we'll have a way to deal with him. Okay, man, we really have to have a good talk. On the front battlefield, Black Widow and Ojek were no match for Proxima Midnight, barely 4260. In the jungle, General Corvus Glaive once again stabbed his peerless blade into Vision's body. Obviously, this battle blade had a great inhibitory effect on Vision. Vision's eyes turned white, and General Corvus Glaive grabbed his neck with one hand and lifted him up. "I thought you were so powerful, but now you're going to die like them." General Corvus Glaive threw Vision to the ground and prepared to take the Mind Stone off Vision's forehead. At this moment, Captain America finally arrived and fought with General Corvus Glaive. "Get out of here. Go." Captain America didn't have time to observe Vision's situation. He knew very well that his opponent this time was particularly strong. On the front battlefield, Black Widow was also forced to death by Dark Knight Proxima. Just when Dark Knight Proxima was about to understand Black Widow, a burst of scarlet energy suddenly lit up on her body. It was Wanda who took action. Wanda lifted Dark Knight Proxima into the air and let the iron wheels running all over the ground end Dark Knight Proxima's life. Dark Knight Proxima, who had killed countless people, died under the pig rush of friendly forces and was directly knocked into a pool of meat paste. The 4 Obsidian Generals. I always feel uncomfortable and panic when listening to the sound without playing some videos, but it is easy to affect the speed of typing if I play it, which is a headache. Chapter 97. The 4 Black Generals were wiped out. Captain America used his shield to knock back Corvus Glaive's ultimate blade, but the next second Corvus Glaive grabbed his neck. Perhaps it was the strength brought by the pain of losing his wife, although Corvus Glaive didn't know that his wife was dead. Corvus Glaive rushed over and pinned Captain America to the ground and strangled Captain America's neck, not intending to pick up the weapon at all. Corvus Glaive, who had rich combat experience, knew that it was not a big problem. If the weapon was knocked away, it would not be too late to pick it up after killing this human, but there was only this one chance to kill him. But he forgot that the opponent had teammates. Vision, who was almost scrapped by him, tried his best to raise the ultimate blade and stabbed Corvus Glaive. After killing countless people, Corvus Glaive, with the ultimate blade in his hand covered with blood, died on his own ultimate blade. The 4 Black Generals were wiped out. Take a 5-minute break and then play Avengers 3: Infinity Snap. At the same time, the answer to the previous question will be revealed. It was really thrilling. Peter wiped the sweat from his forehead. He was completely immersed in it. No, Infinite Snap. Bruce Wayne, the future Batman, although his paranoia make him look like a psychopath, this cannot hide the fact that he is recognized as the top strategist in the DC universe. Did you notice the subtitle just now? Infinity Snap, and Thanos has been saying that, as long as he collects all 6 Infinity Stones, and then lightly snaps his fingers, he can destroy half of the life in the universe. And the previous subtitle was Infinity Snap. Infinity Stones, snapping fingers. I don't need to say more about what it represents. But the Black Ops are gone. But Thanos is not dead yet. Bruce Wayne said, before, Thanos was killed instantly by Ultron, which made us relax our vigilance against this alien. But he is the one who punched the Hulk. Didn't Mr. Stark talk to us about Hulk? He said that he is the strongest Avenger and the strongest warrior on Earth. But before on the Asgard spaceship, Hulk was almost killed by Thanos' military punch. Even on the battlefield in Wakanda, Hulk never came out, and Dr. Banner couldn't call out, no matter how hard he tried. So can we judge that Hulk was scared of Thanos? Is Hulk scared? Tony was stunned. In his impression, the Hulk has always been the ultimate irritable guy. Not to mention being scared. Even a little tough won't work. He has to be soft. It's possible. Tony nodded and said, Banner said that the Hulk was born after he was exposed to gamma radiation, and he will only come out when Banner is emotional. To be precise, Banner's appearance has a lot to do with anger. So, as long as Banner is scared, the Hulk will not show up. I don't think it's that simple. Strange shook his head and said, my personal opinion is that Dr. Banner and the Hulk are two different personalities. When the two personalities switch, the identities of Banner and the Hulk will also switch. On the temple second, Thanos saw the subtitle and was a little excited. Although he didn't mind changing his way to save the universe, it would be a good thing if he could see his isotope fulfill his long cherished wish. Moreover, even if he had to change a way to save the universe, the Infinity Stones could still play a big role in the process. Thanos picked up the Infinity Gauntlet that he had just obtained from the dwarf and put it on his hand. The golden Infinity Gauntlet was very gorgeous, and the 6 grooves on it were used to hold the 6 Infinity Gems. The biggest function of this thing is to share the huge energy impact brought by the 6 gems. Any Infinity Gem can kill a person, especially the Power Gem, not to mention the 6 combined. Even Thanos' Titan body, which is the strongest under the god level, can't stand it. Loki, however, it seems that the most likely option now is Thanos. Loki, after all, the subtitle is called Infinity Snap. Thanos, in my plan, when I have completed the salvation of the universe, I will find a quiet planet to spend the rest of my life. In this case, I have a great chance of destroying the 6 Infinity Gems. Ultraman Ace, what's wrong? What did I miss? Ultraman Hickory, you missed a lot. Where are you now, Ace? Planet Walter. Ace looked at the speech in the live broadcast room and felt a little worried. In addition, he had just chopped off a few Ultra Beasts. Although it didn't take long, he threw a lot of skills, and the blue energy consumption was still not small. Because although he could no longer find the opponent's trace, Ace's intuition told him that this matter was not over. There must be Ultra Beasts left by the Yabo people's group of Baba on this planet, and it was even very likely that the Yabo people were on this planet. In order to prepare for the subsequent war and to observe the situation in the screening room, Ace flew out of planet Water and came to the universe to absorb light to replenish energy. Although Ace's blue bar is twice that of Ultraman, and the ultra hole on his forehead can also speed up the recovery of energy. After all, he threw a lot of skills, big and small, and the blue energy consumption was still a bit high. After all, the blood of the Ultra Beasts dyed a large area of the sea red, and it would be a bit unreasonable if the blue bar remained the same as before. Ace replied in the live broadcast room while recovering his energy. Ultraman Ace, I'm on planet Water. Many Ultra Beasts have appeared here. It is obviously the work of the group of Babas of the Yabo people. Unfortunately, I came a step too late. I only chopped off the Ultra Beasts, but I didn't catch the group of Babas. Ultraman Ace, fortunately, the natives of this planet are fine. Ultraman Hickory, why don't you go back to the Land of Light to request reinforcement? The sudden appearance of the Yabo people is definitely not a small matter. I heard from the Vantan people who came to the Land of Light for technical exchanges that the Dark Empire has been making moves recently. I suspect that the sudden actions of the Yabo people are related to the Dark Empire. Ultraman Ace, I understand. I will send the Ultra signature now. Wolverine, aren't you all able to explode stars with your bare hands? Does the Dark Empire also have a star blasting expert? Ultraman Ace, I don't know, but the Dark Empire invaded the Land of Light. My parents died in that invasion of the Land of Light, and I became an orphan. Wolverine, sorry. Ultraman Ace, it doesn't matter. One day I will avenge them. Ultraman Hickory, Ace was still young at that time, so I will give you a brief account. At that time, I had just graduated from school and joined the Science and Technology Bureau as a researcher. Ultraman Hickory, at that time, the Emperor of the Dark Empire, Star Emperor, fought his way into the Land of Light. There was no rival in the entire Land of Light that could match him. In the end, Father Ultraman awakened his true power and barely repelled Star Emperor, but he also left behind injuries that could never be healed. Ultraman Hickory, let me put it this way. Under normal circumstances, the eldest brother of the Ultra Brothers, Ultraman Zoffy, can beat 10 aces, and in his heyday, Father Ultraman could beat 10 Zoffys, but Ace alone could beat a planet into cosmic dust with his bare hands. Ultraman Hickory, so, you understand how terrible Star Emperor was back then. Ultraman Hickory, but I'm only a scientist after all. I can only make a rough guess about my combat power. The specific combat is definitely not something that can be explained by data. Peter Parker, but this is also very scary. Thanos looked at Hickory, who could explode stars with his mouth, and beat 10 people with his mouth closed. This tyrant who traveled across the universe was also a little frightened. He even thought that it was fortunate that the opponent could not cross the universe, otherwise his life might be in danger. Avengers 3, Infinity Snap, now on air. I really can't figure it out why I had no problem eating Wallace in several nearby counties, but I had diarrhea as soon as I ate Wallace at home. I just took the medicine and now I'm lying in bed like a corpse. Chapter 98 The Yabo People on the Run. With the awakening of Thor, the whole battle situation was reversed in an instant. Every time Thor swung his axe, lightning and thunder followed. He defeated Thanos' army with his own strength. Afterwards, Thor flew to the vicinity of Thanos' troop transport ship. With the same axe, the huge sandwich troop transport ship exploded instantly and turned into scrap metal. The battle on the front battlefield came to an end, and everyone came to Vision. Wanda hurriedly helped Vision up, but saw that the mind gem on Vision's forehead kept flashing. What's wrong? He's coming. As soon as Vision finished speaking, the forest started to blow, and the leaves fluttered as if foreshadowing something. Captain America looked at the fallen leaves blown by the wind, and he understood something in his heart. Everyone come to me, and prepare to meet the enemy. Everyone looked around. Quiet, very quiet. This silence, however, is far more terrifying than the battlefield with artillery fire. Dr. Banner's anti-Hulk armor was the first to detect the energy anomaly. He turned his head and saw a portal-like smoke opening in the air, with blue arcs flashing in the smoke. A tall figure flashed out from it. It was Thanos, the tyrant. What shocked everyone was that there were 5 infinity stones inlaid on the golden glove in this guy's hand. Purple, blue, red, yellow, and green. Power, space, reality, soul, and time. Thanos actually collected 5 of the 6 infinity stones. On the temple second, Thanos couldn't help but smile when he saw this. Congratulations, Father, you are only one step away from success. Ebony Maw flattered appropriately. Although it is just an isotope in another universe, this also proves that you will definitely succeed in the future, Father. In that world, our deaths are worth it. Thanos waved his hand to shut up Ebony Maw. Although he was very happy, it was only in another universe after all. Tony Stark, damn it. This guy actually collected 5 infinity stones. Stranky, this. If we have 5 infinite gems, what about us? Tony and Stracky looked at each other. The two sides thought about it. It's not good to end. The image continues. Captain, he is destroying the tyrants. Drive Banger watched this enemy who had a strong Hulk to fat. The first to drive the anti-Hulk war with severe war loss. Was directly covered by the blue light, and was then integrated into the rocks, and could not break free. Note 1. The second captain was thrown aside with purple energy, as if throwing a fallen leaves, that fell on his body, and didn't care. Then Black Panther, who rushed forward, was grabbed by the neck, and punched to the ground by Thanos. The kinetic energy absorption function of the Black Panther suit was directly triggered, but the purple kinetic energy shockwave could not cause any damage to Thanos at all, even if it made him slow down a little. Then came Falcon, War Machine, Winter Soldier, Black Widow, Okoye. Everyone rushed forward desperately, even if it was to delay the opponent's pace. But it was useless. It was useless at all. Thanos just made a simple fist to them, leaving them without any ability to fight back. If Thanos had not been single-minded in wanting the Mind Stone and not wanting to kill people, I'm afraid that the forest would have been full of corpses at this moment. Looking at Thanos, who was like a demon, Wanda's eyes were full of determination. Wanda, listen to me. It's time. Vision looked at Wanda, and Wanda also knew what Vision meant. No, they can't stop him, but we can. Can? They can do what? Looking at the indifferent Vision in the video, everyone had an idea in their hearts. A desperate idea. That is, Wanda will destroy the Mind Stone with her own hands. In other words, Wanda wants to kill Vision, to kill her lover with her own hands. No. Peter's eyes were red, and he wanted to rush in and kill Thanos, the purple potato spirit, immediately. Outside the planet water, Ace watched this scene, his chest rising and falling. The memory of being the Big Dipper once again emerged in his mind. If something really happens to the children, Thanos, I will kill you. In a trench on the planet water, the Yabo people felt a terrifying murderous intent from the sky and shuddered. Why is Ace crazy? Didn't I just catch some local creatures and transform them into super beasts? Looking at the new super beast in front of him that was about to be released, the Yabo people had the idea of running away. I don't want to be killed by this lunatic. No, the Emperor's plan to conquer the universe is extremely important. I may not be able to enter the resurrection state at this time. Yabo decisively chose to run away. Anyway, the data of the new super beast has been collected. This experiment will stay on this planet to vent Ace's anger. Well, defeat Ace. Slip away. Yabo broke the barrier of the other dimension and left, leaving only the super beast that was programmed to destroy everything. Look at me. Vision wanted to pull Wanda over, but Wanda insisted on turning around. She would rather face Thanos, the extremely terrifying enemy, than look at Vision at this moment. You have the ability to destroy the gem. Don't say it. You must. Please. Vision turned Wanda around, and Wanda's hand gently stroked Vision's face, as if she was saying her final goodbye to him. We don't have time. Wanda's lips trembled slightly, and she shook her head and said, I can't do it. You can. You can. Vision put Wanda's hand in front of the Mind Stone, as if to bid Wanda a final farewell. If he collects all 6 gems, half of the universe will perish. This is unfair. You shouldn't do this, but it must be you. It's okay. You will never hurt me. Note 2. Under Vision's persuasion, a red light finally lit up in the center of Wanda's palm. The red light at this moment is no longer dark red, but a bright blood red. The power of chaos is injected into the Mind Stone, and Vision endures the pain. He knows how much pain the girl in front of him is in at this moment. Avengers base. No. Wanda almost collapsed when she saw this scene. It's okay, Wanda, I'm by your side now. We have plenty of time to prepare. Vision hugged Wanda and comforted her in a low voice, which gradually stabilized the chaotic energy around Wanda. Stark's face was also extremely ugly. Yes, Stark really didn't want to care about these things and wanted to retire. But this doesn't mean that anyone can come to Earth to run wild. And it's obvious that he won't be there in the future. Taking advantage of his absence, bully his former comrade in arms, Tony Stark. Have you asked him? Exclamation mark. Note 1. I always thought that this function should be the reality gem, but after watching that clip over and over again, the blue light on the infinite gauntlet did prove that Thanos used the space gem at that time. Note 2. I cried after watching this clip. I really didn't understand anything before, just like watching Ultraman when I was a child. I just wanted to watch Ultraman fight monsters, and I didn't know what Ultraman contained until I grew up. I didn't understand it in the first 2 years, but now it seems that I finally know why my sister cried when she saw this clip. Chapter 99, Black and Red Fantasy, God of the Underworld, Zithorn. Even Groot took action in the face of Thanos. As a member of the Flora Colossus, Groot's body can be said to be one of the strongest materials in the universe, but it still only made Thanos spend a little more effort. Note 1. Captain America, who was previously knocked away, once again rushed to fight with Thanos. Rather than a fight, it's more like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. The second time Thanos fought with Captain America, he originally just wanted to push Captain America away, but he didn't expect that he was blocked by the opponent. However, this only surprised Thanos for a moment, and then he added another punch, and Captain America fell to the ground. You tried your best, but it just made the opponent throw one more punch. Wanda looked at Thanos, who was getting closer and closer, opened her hands, and released a shockwave of chaos power to directly suppress Thanos. No, not just suppressing. Under the impact of the power of chaos, even Thanos, who was holding 5 infinite gems, retreated again and again. Finally, he clenched the infinite gauntlet and released a blue protective shield to barely block the power of chaos. Even with the power of the infinite gems, Thanos still had a hard time in front of this terrifying power. This is a win. Peter looked at Wanda, who was showing her power and suppressing Thanos with one hand, and shouted excitedly, "Hurry up. Use 2 hands." No. Hikaru watched the video and said, "Wanda is no match for Thanos." Wolverine, stop it. Wanda can't suppress Thanos with one hand and he can't raise his head. Wouldn't it be over if she used 2 hands? Question mark. Thanos, I only use the space gem. Wolverine, asterisk asterisk asterisk. You asterisk asterisk asterisk. Shut up. Thanos, listen to me. That is my isotope, and I have a new idea now. Wolverine, new you asterisk asterisk asterisk. I asterisk 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 you big asterisk asterisk asterisk. With the most irritable and hateful Wolverine Logan taking the lead, the entire live broadcast room began to test firepower against Thanos, but most of the people in the live broadcast room were well educated, and there were not many people, mainly Logan and Thanos. Temple number 2. The furious Thanos almost crushed his beloved throne armrest. Thanos, who has always been a ruthless person and a man of few words, was rarely defeated. He is no match for Wolverine, who has been in the army for many years, in terms of scolding people. Strange, Thanos did use only the power of 2 gems. If all 5 gems were used, then Wanda would definitely not be able to resist, even if she was carrying the power of chaos. Strange, at least, Wanda at that stage on the screen could not. Strange, the power gem and the space gem alone allowed Thanos to hold on and move forward. If Thanos used the power of 5 infinity gems, Wanda would be defeated in an instant. Strange, moreover, Thanos has a time gem in his hand. Strange, the time stone can manipulate time, and Thanos can completely control the surrounding time to achieve his goal. Strange, the power of the time stone is the most mysterious and the most difficult to manipulate. At the same time, the impact it causes is also the greatest. Once a time paradox is formed, the entire universe will collapse. That's why Thanos didn't use the power of the time stone easily. He just relied on the 2 stones of space and power, which are the safest to use, to push Wanda's power of chaos forward. Thanos, that's right. Although the Infinity Gauntlet is a prop specifically used to use the Infinity Stones, once the Time Stone is used improperly, it will cause a time paradox and lead to the consequences of the collapse of the universe. Thanos, the 6 Infinity Stones will have a huge impact on the surrounding things. The Power Stone will release huge energy to destroy everything. The Space Stone will cause space turbulence. The Time Stone will form a time paradox. The Mind Stone will affect the minds of the surrounding creatures. The Reality Stone will distort reality. All physical laws are like a joke in front of the Reality Stone. As the most mysterious stone, I don't know what impact the Soul Stone will have. Thanos, in comparison, the most destructive power gem is the safest. No one wants to care about Thanos, except for a few people who want to make this purple potato essence into dried purple potato. In the video, Wanda's destruction of the Mind Gem has reached the final critical moment. Looking at the lover in front of him, Vision knows that he is about to leave. "I love you." A sound of objects breaking sounded. Vision's forehead cracked, revealing a golden glow. The next second, a golden shockwave shook the entire forest. Wanda was blown away by the shockwave. The huge consumption, the impact of the shockwave, and the pain of losing her love made the girl lie on the ground helplessly. This girl really did it. Strange's eyes widened. If he had just guessed before, he was completely sure now. It is indeed the power of chaos of the god of the underworld, Zism. In other words, the answer is D. Hikari scratched his head. He didn't expect that he had chosen an answer at random and got it right. Tony's expression was a bit ugly. He thought he was right, but he was not online during the Battle of Wakanda, let alone destroying the Infinity Stones. No, with my personality, I must do something. Moreover, Thanos has the Master's Time Stone in his hand, and he looks like he has just finished a battle. It seems that I should have fought Thanos with the Master and Peter Parker of our world in the future, but failed. Thinking of this, Tony felt even more uncomfortable. I can understand you, Kit, better than anyone else. Thanos walked to the powerless Wanda, watching Wanda grit her teeth and say that she would never understand. Thanos just said lightly, "What I lost today is beyond your imagination, but now is not the time to mourn." Thanos touched Wanda's head, then walked to the place where Vision exploded and clenched his fist. As the light of the time stone lit up, green runes formed a halo and surrounded Thanos' wrist. Damn. Strange frowned. He had guessed what this bastard was going to do. Avengers base. Wanda. Stark had put on a brand new nanosuit. The nano metal flowed and transformed into a shield to resist the impact of the power of chaos. Captain, Mr. Stark, go. Vision relied on the power of the Mind Stone to barely resist Wanda's scattered power of chaos. The scene of Wanda destroying the Mind Stone in the previous video had a huge emotional impact on Wanda in this world. In addition, the power of chaos itself is extremely unstable, and Wanda just used the awakening acceleration card. On the surface, it seems that nothing has happened, but in fact, the power of chaos in Wanda's body is in a rapid awakening mode. Under the intense stimulation of emotions, Wanda's energy ran away on the spot. You retreat first. Leave this to me. Seeing this, the other few people had to retreat quickly. If they didn't retreat, they really couldn't hold on. Vision rushed to Wanda with the power of chaos and hugged her. A golden power of the Mind Gem was emitted from the Mind Gem on Vision's forehead and connected to Wanda's forehead. Vision's voice then sounded in Wanda's mind, awakening Wanda, who was in a coma and lost her soul. Wanda's in a world. Wanda walked blankly on a dark land. The sky here was red and the land was black. Wanda seemed to have forgotten the time and herself, just walking on this land at a loss. Child, come here. Come to me. Wanda asked subconsciously. Who are you? I'm your creator. I created you. You are my messenger in the world, my spokesperson. The voice was full of temptation. Wanda subconsciously walked in one direction. As she walked, she asked, "Who am I?" "You are my messenger in the world." Wanda walked towards an unknown direction. At the end of that place, there seemed to be a high mountain. "You are the only mortal in the world who can use the power of chaos." Wanda got closer and closer to the mountain. The stairs on the mountain led directly to the top of the mountain. There seemed to be a throne on the top of the mountain, and a blurry figure sat on the throne. "You are." The moment the tempting voice was about to say that word, a golden light bloomed in this black and red world. Wanda. Vision's figure appeared in this chaotic world. Vision. The confusion on Wanda's face disappeared instantly at Vision's call. Wanda, who had woken up, immediately ran towards Vision. "Come here, child, come here." The figure on the top of the mountain called out hard, but Wanda turned a deaf ear to the call and ran towards Vision with all her heart. No matter how the figure called, Wanda didn't care. Vision, emitting golden light, hugged Wanda and drove away all the black and red colors on Wanda's body. The figure seemed to be a little angry and wanted to do something but was helpless. It can only cast an energy that is not even a projection, and creating an illusion to seduce Wanda is already its greatest effort. Now Wanda has escaped from the temptation with the help of the Mind Stone. Vision. Although its power is far greater than that of the Mind Stones in a universe, this is after all a battle on the Mind Stone's home turf, with the right time, right place, and right people. In the end, it can only watch Wanda being taken away from the black and red world by Vision. Child, we will meet again. Note 1. This is what is written in the setting. Chapter 100 Everything About Me. Wanda woke up, and the first thing she saw was Vision hugging her, and the sky behind him. Wanda. Vision finally breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Wanda wake up. Vision, where are we? Wanda looked around in confusion, as if this place had just been demolished. Avengers base. Ruins. There were ruins of houses all around, and Captain America and others were looking at this place worriedly from 1,000 meters away. These were done by me. It's okay. Vision smiled and said, "Mr. Stark is not short of money." The people in the screening room obviously didn't know what was going on. A green formation appeared in the palm of Thanos' hand. Strange, Wong, Constantine, Loki, and other figures in the magic world stared at the green time formation desperately. Wolverine, Thanos also knows time magic. Several wizards. Can anyone come out to explain it? 1. I don't understand that formation. The magic of time is top secret in Kamatage. Only the supreme sorcerer can touch the realm of time. Strange, there are runes on it. Loki, no, this is not the rune invented by my father, but a variant. This should be the enchantment technique used by the dwarves. Loki, damn it. These guys actually betrayed me. Tony Stark, you are the least qualified to talk about betrayal here. Loki, shut up, mortal. I should have thought of it earlier. The Infinity Gauntlet is a powerful artifact that can carry the power of the Infinity Stones. Looking at the entire universe, only the dwarves living in Nidavellir have the ability to create it. Loki, these traitors. Thanos, Loki, the dwarves are much more loyal than you. They chose to help me create the Infinity Gauntlet because you, Asgard, no longer protect them. Loki, so you killed them all after they helped you create the Infinity Gauntlet? Just like discarding a used item? Taking their lives mercilessly just to prevent them from creating a second Infinity Gauntlet? Thanos, I promised to let them go. I always keep my word, so I'll let them go. At least in my universe, I didn't kill any of the 300 dwarves living in Nidavellir. Thanos, instead of talking about me, why don't you talk about why Asgard gave up the protection of Nidavellir? Wolverine, stop talking nonsense. Neither of you is a good thing. Wolverine has already known about Loki's invasion of New York with an alien army. Although he supports him to overthrow the shitty Time Management Bureau, he no longer has a good impression of Loki himself. Image continues under the influence of the formation. The fragments of Vision that were blown up all over the ground before are reunited. Vision really fulfilled his promise. Even the explosion after his death did not hurt Wanda at all. The power of the Mind Stone that filled the entire forest quickly retreated, and the entire forest was like a videotape rewinding. Vision was resurrected. How could Wanda not know what Thanos was going to do? She rushed forward desperately, but was pushed away by Thanos. Wanda had no strength left. She could not mobilize the power of chaos in her body at all, and was completely unable to stop Thanos' next atrocities. Thanos grabbed Vision's neck and mercilessly took off the mind gem on Vision's forehead with his other hand. The Vision who had the mind gem taken away turned grey and his eyes turned grey. It was obvious that he was deader than dead. Thanos threw Vision aside, just like throwing away garbage, without even looking at him. Looking at the mind gem in his hand, Thanos showed a satisfied smile. The long cherished wish of many years can finally be realized at this moment. Thanos pressed the mind gem on the Infinity Gauntlet, and all 6 Infinity Gems returned to their positions. This was the closest time since the 6 Infinity Gems were born. When the Mind Stone returned to its place, a huge torrent of energy hit Thanos' whole body, and the 6-color energy could even be seen flowing through Thanos' body. The huge energy created by the 6 Infinity Stones gathered together, even after being filtered and stabilized by artifacts such as the Infinity Gauntlet. Thanos, the strongest Titan body under the god level, could not withstand it. Fortunately, the Infinity Gauntlet is an artifact specifically used to use the Infinity Stones, and the powerful power of the 6 stones was quickly stabilized. At this moment, a thunderbolt as thick as a bucket fell from the sky and directly blasted Thanos 3 meters away. It was Thor, the god of thunder. Before, Thor was obsessed with clearing the line of soldiers, and did not join the team. When he cleared the line of soldiers, he found that there was no trace of Thanos, and his teammates were gone. It was not until the moment when the Mind Stone exploded that Thor felt the approximate direction and hurried over. Seeing Thanos, Thor's anger was ignited again. A bolt of lightning blasted Thanos away, and then he chopped down at Thanos with a thunderbolt. Seeing this, Thanos raised the hand with the Infinity Gauntlet, clenched his fist, and a pure white energy beam was used to counter it. But he didn't win. The infinity beam emitted by Thanos was directly dispersed by Thor's thunderbolt, and the storm axe chopped directly into Thanos' chest. If Thanos' physical fitness was not far superior to that of ordinary people, he would have been disemboweled on the spot. I said, "You will pay the price for this." Thor fell down, holding Thanos' head with his left hand, and holding the storm axe with his right hand, so that the storm axe was embedded deeper into Thanos' body. Thanos screamed, obviously in extreme pain. Looking at Thanos, who was dying, and obviously about to die, Thor gasped. His forehead was covered with sweat, and he showed an expression of revenge. But at this moment, Thanos suddenly said, "You should go for my head." Thanos' left hand slowly and firmly snapped his fingers. Thor wanted to stop it, but it was too late. He only had time to shout no. A fierce white light flashed, and Thanos came to a pale red world. Thanos looked around in confusion, and the injuries on his body disappeared, as if they had never appeared. Thanos looked at Yuan Chao. Under a pavilion, there was a little girl with green skin and red hair. Thanos walked over slowly, and the ground under his feet was like the surface of the water, with circles of waves. "Daughter?" Thanos asked in a tentative tone. "Did you do it?" the girl asked. "Yes." Thanos lowered his head, as if he was afraid to look directly at the girl. "What's the price?" "Everything." The girl nodded, then seemed to shake her head, speechless. "I sent the wrong post just now, and sent out the 100th chapter. I will correct some of the typos in the front. I will finish the revision tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Anyway, before Friday. I would like to thank the readers who pointed out the typos for me. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.